I don't agree. A Wu emperor immediately exclaimed. At that time, I agreed because I didn't know what the treasures in the valley were. Now you can see that the colorful fruits in this valley are of great help to condense the power of space and principles. Now, there are less than 200 spiritual fruits on the fruit tree. Qin Chen has to go 40% of the total, that is, 80 pieces. However, we can only divide the remaining 120 pieces among so many of us. When we broke the array, Wen didn't help. Why did Qin Chen take so many by himself? When this was said, there was a lot of noise on the court. Even some Emperor Wu who wanted to abide by the rules hesitated. 80 and 3 are really far from each other. Qin Chen's eyes were cold, and he said in a cold voice, when you promised the conditions before, you didn't say so. Did you save half a year's time for you? If we had known that the treasure was this, we would rather spend half a year to break the battle than you would have taken 80 pieces by yourself. Do you think so? The emperor immediately sneered. Yes. It's not fair. It's a bit too much for you to take 80 pieces by yourself and only 120 pieces left for so many of us. Before that, 2 friends of Wu Emperor of the Dragon family also took advantage of the chaos again. Naturally, they would be more than happy to let Qin Chen down. They could not only avenge the previous sword, but also gain more spiritual fruits. Why not? What about Lu Yuanhao and Ning Zetao? Qin Chen looked at Lu Yuanhao and Ning Zetao. Lu Yuanhao and Ning Zetao looked at each other, took a deep breath, hesitated for a moment, and then said, since we have made an agreement in advance, it is not appropriate for us to break the contract like this. 2 masters, that's not true. I just feel that such distribution is unfair, and I want a fair distribution. Qin Chen really made great efforts. I personally think it's good to give him 0.5%, that is, 10 pieces. As for the less than 200 pieces left, each of us can get 5 pieces, which is the reasonable distribution. Seeing that many people supported him, the emperor immediately sneered. Is it? Qin Chen's eyes were cold, too lazy to talk nonsense, and directly cut the past with a sword. Zhidao kills the sword. As soon as he came up, he showed his intention to kill. In a moment, countless sword chi gathered together and turned into a dim sword shadow, like a groundbreaking one, and chopped at the Emperor Wu. Boom! The light of the sword was floating, and the territory of the sword was filled with the air of the sword. The sword spirit of the Emperor Wu was firmly locked in the middle. Everybody, let's go together. I don't believe that so many of us can't deal with a little boy from the lower 4 regions. Under this breath, the Emperor Wu felt that he was fixed by a pair of cold eyes, like the eyes of death, rising from the bottom of his feet. He roared, displaying a dark shield while encouraging others to do so. Stop it. Qin Chen, have something to say. Stop it, young Qia Qin. The 2 friends of the Emperor Wu of the Dragon family were killed one after another. Die. Qin Chen drank coldly, and his internal strength broke out completely. The mysterious rusty sword broke out a dazzling brilliance. It was cut on the black shield with a bang. The dark shield was split into 2 parts under the sword. Under the shield, the Emperor Wu's face was startled, and his body quickly retreated. But in the blink of an eye, he was wrapped in the burning sword chi. Ah! Pooh! The scream sounded, and then stopped abruptly. In the full view of the public, the Emperor of Wu was split into a blood mist in the sky, and there was no bones left. In the middle of the day, the sword of Xiao Huang was killed. Hiss! The crowd began to breathe in cold air. Many of them had just begun to jump out of the room, but they stopped, leaving only the 2 friends of the Emperor Wu of the Dragon family. Seeing that all of them stopped, the 2 people who were already in the middle of the air were frightened and were about to withdraw. Originally, Qin has bypassed 2 people and 1 life. Now it seems that Qin is too kind. As the voice fell, Qin Chen cut 2 swords again. Boom! The towering sword spirit permeates the heaven and earth. If the ancient sword god comes, it contains the sword meaning of the ultimate killing intention to block the sky and block the sun. It will completely wrap people up and then cut them into pieces. The sound of the scream fell, and in the void, there was no trace of 2 people, only 2 pieces of blood fog that had not yet completely dispersed, slowly dispersed. He raised his hand and killed 3 mid-term Emperor Wu. Qin Chen turned around and looked at others coldly. He said, Who else wants to break his promise and fight against Qin? Quiet. Dead silence. No one said anything on the field, but looked at Qin Chen in horror. The 3 mid-term Emperor Wu were actually killed by Qin Chen, the initial peak of Wu Emperor. Such a powerful scene made everyone's heart unable to calm down for a long time. It seems that no one wants to break the contract. Qin Chen Leng hum, turn around, hand a lift, suddenly 79 colorful spirit fruit by him into the storage ring. Then Qin Chen said, there are 198 colorful spirit fruits on this fruit tree. I will take 79 of them and leave 119. There are 35 people left in the field, 3 for one person, and 14 for others. Previously, 2 masters, LV Yuanhao and Ning Zetao, made great efforts. One person divided them into 5 pieces. Zhou Jiwei of the Ethereal Palace and Yu Changxiu of the Law Enforcement Hall, as witnesses, the same person had 5, and the remaining 6 were left. There were exactly 6 forces left on the field, and one force had more than 1, although Qin has a lot of points. Qin saved 100 years for each of you. And you, it is only reduced from 5 to 3. Can't Qin save you 2 colorful fruits in the second half of the year? Who has any opinion on such distribution? Qin Chen's eyes were cold. I don't think so. No problem. You're right, young Chia Qin. Although we only got 3, we got it for nothing and almost no cost. Please assign it to you, young Chia Qin. If Qin Chen did not show his strength, many people may still argue. Now that Qin Chen has revealed his strength, who will have any opinions? What's more, if you think about it carefully, in fact, Qin Chen is right. Although Qin Chen takes a lot of them, on average, they only reduce them from 5 to 3, saving a full half a year. To be honest, they still take advantage of it. Seeing that no one had any opinion, Qin Chen divided all the remaining colorful fruits. It's fair, young Chia Qin. If you distribute it like this, you should lose half of it. It's a little bit of a loss. LV Yuanhao took 5 colorful lingu, and said with a smile. Master Lu Yuanhao is very kind. Although Qin has lost half of them, it doesn't matter. Qin will use the colorful fruit trees as collateral. Qin Chen said that he went straight to Kakaling fruit tree and dug it. He wanted to dig the whole colorful fruit tree away. Well, there seems to be a spirit in here just now. What is it? At this time, a strong and cold sound sounded suddenly. In the distance, an amazing breath suddenly came and fell into the crowd. The strong breath made everyone change color. Boom. The terrible breath was suppressed and sent out a terrible pressure. Only one person walked out of the crowd slowly. It's amazing. His breath is full of air. Everyone on the field retreats after him and can't light his front. The man's eyes fell on the spirit tree Qin Chen was digging, and frowned. What kind of tree is this? Previously, he felt that there was an amazing breath of spiritual fruit here, so he rushed to it, but he did not think that after arriving here, he did not find anything. Ancient Kanwu Emperor. When they saw the visitors, they were shocked and exclaimed. It's the ancient Kanwu Emperor of Xuanyuan Empire. The strong one in the late 8th stage. How could he be here? It's over. The people were cold in their hearts and their faces changed greatly. The ancient Kanwu Emperor, the late Emperor of Xuanyuan Empire in the late 8th stage, has superior strength and means. There are so many people on the court. Although some of them are barely close to the mid-peak of the late 8th stage, they are all just the mid-8th stage or the mid-peak of the Wuhuang before the ancient Yu Kingdom. The ancient Kanwu Emperor, before entering the ancient Yu Kingdom, was the late 8th stage Emperor Wu. He came from the extremely terrible Xuanyuan Empire. He was famous around. Now more than a year has passed. With the strength of the ancient Kanwu Emperor, I don't know how to upgrade the cultivation. It's no wonder that only powerful people like the ancient Kanwu Emperor can approach here quietly without being noticed by anyone. Qin Chen started a few times, and had already dug up the colorful fruit tree, and then put it into the storage ring, which was just looking at the ancient Kanwu Emperor. I saw that the ancient Kanwu Emperor looked only 40 years old, but he was handsome and had a mature man's charm, which was heartbreaking. The whole body of the ancient Kanwu Emperor is permeated with ancient charm, forming an invisible space barrier, which clearly tells people that he is a Wu Emperor in the late 8th stage. As soon as he came in, people saluted one after another and did not dare to neglect him. Although everyone came from different forces, in this ancient Wu kingdom, if he really offended the ancient Kangwu emperor, it would be easy for the other party to kill them. What's more, they should also pay due respect to the top military emperors of other forces. The ancient Kangwu emperor raised his head slightly. After receiving such treatment, he naturally did not care about such awe. He just turned his eyes and looked at Qin Chen. It's very simple. He and Yu Changsu didn't show any special respect. It's too abrupt. Moreover, Qin Chen collected the mysterious fruit tree after he arrived. But he didn't mean it, because if he wanted it, he believed the other party would take it out. Oh, it's you, the boy from Dan Pavilion. You are crazy. You dare to challenge Fengele Emperor outside the boundary of Guyu. You are a bit bold. Emperor Kangwu of ancient times smiles. Smile is very casual, with contempt. He has such qualifications, also has such strength. But he also had some doubts in his heart, why so many people in the field would let Qin Chen collect the ancient tree. It was very strange. Come on, what was there just now? He said lightly, in a calm tone, but with a sense of irrefutable, as if the emperor was interrogating his ministers. It doesn't seem to have anything to do with your majesty. Qin Chen frowned and said. He was actually a late emperor of Shuanyuan Empire. It's a bit of a problem. Qin Chen is not afraid of each other, but here is a lot of people, many things do not display. Emperor Kangwu, we are going to leave first. When someone salutes, he turns around and leaves. Poof! Suddenly, a black light fell, and the man was blocked by a streamer. The ground in front of him cracked soundlessly, like molten inflammation. I did you leave? Quote. The old Kangwu emperor turned to smile, but the smile made people shudder. His whole body was like falling into an ice cellar. The man's face turned white and he did not dare to move. Other strong men who had planned to leave secretly did not dare to move. Come on, what is there here? His eyes were burning and he was staring at a military emperor. The man was afraid to speak. Boom. The ancient Kangwu emperor raised his hand, and genuine sword like a divine rainbow. He grabbed the Emperor Wu and held him in his hand. However, he could not get rid of it. He struggled in pain. Elder Gu Kang, I'm Emperor Wu of the Shaojia River. Please show mercy. The man yelled, pale and frightened. Long River Co family, very strong. The ancient Kangwu emperor laughed. Do you think my Shuanyuan Empire will be afraid of your Long River Co family? I say no. Give you 3 rest time. If you don't say, you don't have to say. Ancient Kangwu emperor indifferent road. I said. The man couldn't hold on any longer. He even said what happened before, Elder Gu Kang, I only got 3 colorful fruits. I'm willing to give them all to Elder Gu Kang. The voice dropped. He directly handed in the 3 colorful fruit he got. The ancient Kangwu emperor took over the spirit fruit, and his eyes brightened. There was an inexplicable power in the fruit. It seemed that even the power of the space principle in his body could be condensed, which was very magical. His eyes were full of greed. He was originally the emperor of Wu in the later period of the 8th Order. If he practiced all his strength in this ancient Yu kingdom, it would take him 3 years to reach the limit of the power of spatial principles in his body. But the vast majority of the late Emperor Wu did not dare to do so. One of the most important reasons is that in the ancient Yu kingdom, too much power of space principles will be condensed at one time, which will lead to the instability of the force of space principles in the body. Other Wu emperors have enough time to go out and continue to refine. However, these late 8th-stage Wu emperors can do the same, but they will have a certain impact on future breakthroughs. Therefore, many late Emperor Wu did not dare to condense the power of space principles to the extreme 100 in this ancient Yu kingdom. But now, to see the colorful fruit, the ancient Kangwu emperor's eyes are bright. If there are enough of these spiritual fruits, he can condense the power of space principles in his body to the extreme 100 without any worries. Bang! He threw the Emperor Wu on the ground, and the other party was in a mess, but he didn't dare to complain. He just stood on the side in fear and even didn't dare to leave. The hearts of all the people on the field were raised. All of them saw the greed in the eyes of the ancient Kangwu emperor, and his heart was extremely worried. If the emperor wants them to ask for it, will they pay it or not? However, the ancient Kanwu emperor also learned from the population of the Xiao family in Changhe that 40% of them were taken away by Qin Chen. He should not be so anxious to find them, right? Sure enough, the first emperor of ancient Kanwu looked at Qin Chen and was surprised and said, "I can't believe that you are still a master of the 8th order array." The old Kanwu emperor was surprised that his tone was not so vicious, but polite. People all wonder whether it is Qin Chen who owns 40% of the colorful fruits, or the conflict with the Emperor Fengele before. The emperor should not be so polite to Qin Chen. Qin Chen nodded. Not bad. He is a master of the 8th level array, and he is also the top talent of Dan Pavilion. In fact, he doesn't need to tremble in front of the ancient Kanwu emperor. What's more, his own combat power is no worse than that of the late 8th level emperor, so he has no fear at all. It's interesting, master of the 8th level array, the talent of the next 4 regions. The ancient Kanwu emperor laughed. Are you interested in joining my Xuanyuan empire? The ancient Kanwu emperor handed out the olive branch to Qin Chen. What's going on? People were surprised. Things didn't seem to go at the pace they imagined. However, the next moment, people were shocked, had to admit that the ancient Kanwu emperor, the means really sharp. Whether Qin Chen's talent, cultivation, or strength, he is the best in Tianzhou. Although he joined the Dan Pavilion, he was only selected from the next 4 regions, not directly cultivated by him. If you can draw this son to his own power, not only a great achievement, but also can severely frustrate the face of Dan Pavilion. Qin Chen showed a smile. Thank you for the love of the ancient Kanwu emperor, but I was originally a member of the Dan Pavilion. What's more, I don't have any good feelings for your empire, so I can't. If the ancient Kanwu emperor has nothing else to do, Qin will leave. Qin Chen didn't know what the ancient Kanwu emperor was selling. He didn't want to know. In addition, it was not a good place to fight. Naturally, he was too lazy to fight with each other. They were frightened and speechless. They said that Qin Chen was brave indeed. In the face of the ancient Kanwu emperor, it is said that they have no good feelings for Xuanyuan empire. Isn't this a fight against the face of the ancient Kanwu emperor? Sure enough, the ancient Kanwu emperor's eyes suddenly sank, and he said so. Unexpectedly, Qin Chen not only had no respect, but also dared to slander his Xuanyuan empire, which made him unhappy. But he did not know why, and soon smiled, said, "Good, since you will not be here, the emperor is not forced." After a slight pause, he said, "However, those who are destined to get them here will get them. I heard that you have obtained many colorful spiritual fruits before. Please hand them in." Everyone's eyelids jumped, and the play came. Qin Chen sneered. He knew that the other party wanted the colorful fruit. He was not afraid of it. He said, "The gifted treasure can be obtained by the people who have the fate and the strength, but they all come from the hard work." The ancient Kanwu emperor. So, it's over. When they heard this, they were all beating drums in their hearts. Was Qin Chen going to publicly tear his face with the ancient Kanwu emperor? Even if you should have gotten the fruit, since the ancient Kanwu emperor has come, you have got 40% of the fruit before. At least you have to take out more than half of it. Do you want not to take out a single fruit? No matter how strong you are, you will not be the opponent of the ancient Kanwu emperor. After all, this is a world where the strong are respected. After all, the ancient Kanwu emperor was an old one. Qin Chen dared to refute the emperor so directly. Naturally, people were worried. Are you rejecting the emperor's request? Ancient Kanwu emperor's eyes narrowed up. Light way. All of a sudden, there was an invisible opportunity to kill, and the world seemed to tremble for it. If you have to think so, refuse. Qin Chen was indifferent. People are shocked. Qin Chen, this is to challenge the ancient Kanwu emperor. Where does he come from? Do you rely on those strange spirits before? It's really a warrior from the lower 4 regions. It's too naive. As the ancient Kanwu emperor, how can you not have any cards? I'm afraid that the strange spirits that can make them change color will be nothing in front of the ancient Kanwu emperor. Ha ha. Emperor Kanwu laughed, but the laughter gradually cooled down. He looked at many Emperor Wu, Zhou Jiwei and Yu Changxiu. I heard that there is a disciple of the Misty Palace and Law Enforcement Hall here. We all see that it is not the emperor who bullies others by bullying others. Qin Chen has also said that heaven and earth treasure are the treasures of heaven and earth. Those who have strength know that the emperor now requires Qin Chen hand over all the spiritual fruits. If Qin Chen refuses, then don't blame the emperor for his ruthlessness. Quote. The ancient Kangwu emperor looked at Qin Chen coldly. Young man, you are very excellent, but you have just passed the easy break. Sometimes you are too sharp to show off. I'm afraid you can't live long. This is a threat from the strong. A terrible momentum flow, people only feel chest tightness, uncomfortable beyond description. At the same time, people also understand why the ancient Kangwu emperor had to talk so much. He wanted to get spiritual fruit, but also wanted not to break the rules, to be invincible. If Qin did not want to guard those spiritual fruits, he would be killed at that time, and Dan Ge would not be able to investigate the responsibility of his ancient Kangwu emperor too much. Mean as they are very clever. But Qin Chen is indifferent. His physical strength surpasses the general peak of the 8th stage. He is just a momentum. Do you want to defeat him? Qin or that sentence, Tiansai Dibao, predestined get it. He said, not haughtily. You just want to find an excuse to do it. Come on, he's not afraid. As expected, you are like the little girl of the magic sect. You call yourself a saint, but you are stubborn. I don't listen to the orders of the emperor of Xuanyuan Empire again and again. It's your own way to die. The ancient Kangwu emperor sneered, but he put his right hand out and grabbed Qin Chen in the air. Zhenyuan attracted the force of space and turned into a big black hand. All kinds of lights flashed. That was the embodiment of the power of space. The ancient Kangwu emperor made a move, only a small aftershock, and the valley was shaking, as if the heaven and earth were about to collapse. Qin Chen frowned. What did the ancient Kangwu emperor mean? Is Chen Cixi in danger? Although he was puzzled, his expression did not change. In his eyes, Emperor Wu was nothing in his eyes. He has just slaughtered a statue not long ago. Although the ancient Kangwu emperor is better than the ancient eagle elder, he has not even reached the level of Emperor Tianfei. When the mysterious rusty sword is sacrificed, Qin Chen runs the power of terror in his body. When he reaches the heart, the sword arrives, and wheezes, he cuts out a sword and splits it to the black hand. When they saw this, they were so surprised that they all spat out the tongues. This is a standard mantis arm when the chariot, the peak of the small 8th stage, actually wants to fight with the Emperor Wu in the later stage of the 8th stage. How can he overstep his power? I'm afraid the Qin dust is not expanding. Do you think that if you kill 2 midterm Emperor Wu, you will be invincible? It's reckless. All of them shook their heads. They didn't think highly of Qin Chen. The Empress Wu period was far from the peak in the middle period. They were not in the same volume, not to mention the old brand Wu Emperor like the ancient Kangwu Emperor. Boom. In all kinds of moods, Qin Chen and the ancient Kangwu Emperor really had to fight. The terrible strong wind roared, forming an amazing roar. The endless brilliance was dazzling. Everyone felt that they were blind and could not see clearly, but their ears were full of roaring sound, which showed how terrible the scene was. But after a while, many people's ears are deaf, nothing to hear. Because the noise is so terrible that it's beyond their capacity. Many people are bleeding from the 7 orifices, only to feel that the heart is like a drum beating and is about to explode. Most people just feel uncomfortable, but there are a few people like Lu Yuanhao who can still insist, showing unspeakable shock. In the later period, Emperor Wu should have taken Qin Chen down in an instant. Whether it's capture or killing, it's just a matter of raising one's hand, but now it's full of explosions and the battle is still going on. What does it mean? The ancient Kangwu Emperor has not captured Qin Chen yet. How could that be possible? It was just the early Emperor of Wu. Even though he had killed several mid-term Emperor Wu in the name of Master Dandao and Master Zhendao, it does not mean that he can sit on the same level with the late Emperor Wu. After at least half a column of incense, people suddenly found that the terrible sense of oppression was gone, and the sight ahead was slowly recovering, and the situation of hearing loss was also improving. The dust fell all over the sky, showing 2 figures facing each other. Ancient Kangwu Emperor, and Qin Chen. Hiss. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned, and even wanted to hold his head in both hands, shouting impossible. The peak of the early stage was comparable to the late Emperor Wu. Moreover, he was an old-fashioned strongman of the Yuan Empire, which made it a great success in the world. Even dream is not dare to think of things, but in reality staged. Who can believe his eyes? I must have lost my eyes. It can't happen. Fake. All fake. After a short silence, there was a loud, gaping noise. Everyone was aphasia, as if hoping others would remind themselves that all this was just their own dream. Because every Emperor Wu who can come to the ancient Yu kingdom is not an ordinary role, but the emperor's pride among the major forces. Although they are older, it is undeniable that when they are young, they are just like many Tianzhou who have entered the ancient Yu kingdom at the moment. They are also the Tianzhou of the major forces. In the face of ordinary military region, the normal Tianzhou can fight by leaps and bounds, but in front of this group of Emperor Tianzhou, he has to bow his head. But what about Qin Chen? You can say that he killed the Emperor Wu at the peak in the early stage. After all, some evil spirits can fight beyond the level even in the pride of heaven, which is not absolute. But now it is the first peak of the battle, the 8th stage, not only more than 2 levels, but also face the late Emperor Wu, and the other side is the top of the Yuan Empire. The Arabian Nights. Many people are horrified. Even LV Yuanhao and Ning Zetao are also thrilled. They are glad that they did not have a conflict with Qin Chen because of the colorful linguo. If people were dissatisfied with the distribution, once the conflict arises, it will be them who are more or less lucky. The Dalits of the lower 4 regions are so powerful that they are so incredible. The ancient Kangwu emperor opened his mouth, and his voice was full of shock and curiosity. The glow in his eyes soared, but he did not lose his temper. Others only know that Qin Chang is ridiculous and can rival the late Emperor Wu. However, the ancient Kangwu emperor knows that Qin Chang is strong, and he is still far inferior to himself in the control of the power of space. There is a gap between the late Emperor Wu and the early Emperor Wu. However, this sun's sword cultivation is terrible, especially the sharp sword in his opponent's hand. Even he feels a trace of danger. He must be some kind of god against heaven, and the lowest is the top imperial soldier. No, maybe more than that. At this moment, the light in the eyes of the ancient Kangwu emperor is more brilliant. If the sword in Qin Chen's hand is a 9-level imperial soldier, then his unintentional coming here is a great harvest. Whether it is the emperor's soldiers or the colorful fruit, he has great help, enough to be crazy about it. Well, it's just a fluke. Qin Chen said faintly. What can the Wu emperor not believe in nature in the early days? He said coldly, you should have taken some kind of elixir or exotic treasure to stimulate the fighting power, plus relying on the benefit of weapons, so that you have such fighting power. Dan Pavilion is the place where all the pharmacists gather. It is natural that the talents in Dan Pavilion have pills to stimulate their fighting power. But that kind of pills, basically have serious side effects, is equivalent to chronic suicide. Qin Chen shrugged his shoulders. The ancient Kangwu emperor was really imaginative. He said calmly, whatever you want, since you can't take me, Qin won't accompany me. Goodbye. Whoosh. He sprang up and rushed out of the valley. In this case, the ancient Kangwu emperor believed more in his own judgment. Generally, there would be a time limit for the pills to activate their potential. Qin Chen was afraid that the efficacy would pass, so he had to leave the battle in time. Ha ha, is it so easy to go? Emperor Kangwu sneered and caught up with him in an instant. Boom. The sky concussion, the nearby trees burst to pieces in an instant, and the ground was shaken by the shock. The terrible fist turned into a hurricane and rushed to Qin dust. Qin Chen's eyes congealed, knowing that the ancient Kangwu emperor had moved his real strength, but he didn't dare to be careless. The immortal body was immediately urged out. This urge, like an ancient great beast revived, the air vibrated, waves of power rushed to all directions, bang bang, bang, where the power surged, the ground burst into pieces, as if it had been plowed. Many people in the valley could not bear the force and retreated one after another. There were 2 early peaks of Emperor Wu, and even one of his butt was washed down on the ground. You know, these are the top Tianzhou of the major forces. People suck in the air conditioner, so they have a deeper understanding. Qin Chen indeed, it has the strength to rival the late Emperor Wu. Once he has just reached the stage of martial arts, he will have too much strength. Just think about the possibility that everyone is breathing hard. Isn't Emperor Wu invincible? In the 9 days when Emperor Wu does not come out, he will be invincible. Well, it's a small skill. The ancient Tianwu emperor was shocked, but he snorted coldly in the delicious food. His body was stimulated by the real yuan, and his fist power was even more powerful. Boom. The skills he practiced were extremely domineering. At the moment, he exerted all his strength, and the world suddenly turned into a huge black mountain. The mountain was rumbling and majestic, rolling down. He was the late emperor of Wu. He was able to mobilize more space than the early emperor. What's more, he had a stronger genuine in his body. Under his anger, he was just like heaven and earth's anger and terror. Want to kill Qin Chen with one blow. Everyone was shocked, shivering under this force, and fighting against such prestige. Qin Chen was very interested. Although he had just slaughtered the Wu Emperor in the late 8th stage not long ago, it was with the help of the leader of the skeleton helmsmen, the little ants and the small fire. Can we fight against the late Emperor Wu with his own strength? He roared and the mysterious rusty sword moved again. He was extremely powerful. He did not want to confront the ancient Tianwu Emperor. Boom. The two fight. From the ground to the sky, people in the bottom only see endless light in the explosion. There is a thunderous sound. Some people want to take off and watch from a close distance, but they find that they can't get close at all, because all around heaven and earth are filled with the supremacy of the ancient warrior emperor, and the power of space diffuses, which completely suppresses their power. If it is forced to approach, it will only be oppressed by the force of genuine and terror space swept out, and will be involved in this battle. In the sky, Qin Chen fully displayed what he could and played soundly and vividly. The power of the space principle mastered by the late Emperor Wu was generally several times, even tens of times, than that of the early Wu Emperor. Therefore, the ancient Emperor of Tianwu extracted a large amount of space power and filled the place completely. The space boundary formed suppressed the space force of Qin Chen. No matter how strong the power of space principle of Qin Chen is, it can't be compared with the later Emperor Wu. But it doesn't matter. Once the boundary of sword is added, the ancient Tianwu Emperor cannot easily suppress Qin Chen. What's more, Qin Chen's strongest is the physical body, and the body of a mortal holy body and space works. It is very difficult for the ancient Tianwu Emperor to hurt Qin Chen. Boom. Qin Chen ignored the attack of the ancient Tianwu Emperor, but let go of his body. Sometimes, he exchanged his moves with his moves, which was totally unreasonable. No way. His physique is too strong. The defense of the conventional immortal holy body is close to that of the 9 heavenly emperor. Once he takes the initiative to operate the body of space, his defense power can soar to a large extent, and he can eat the bombardment of the ancient Tianwu emperor. Sometimes the attack of the ancient Tianwu emperor swept Qin Chen, and Qin Chen was not damaged at all. Instead, Qin Chen cut it out with one sword, but the ancient Tianwu emperor did not dare to take it. This makes the ancient Tianwu emperor's head big. He has never seen such an opponent. Clearly, the opponent's cultivation is much weaker than himself, but he is not afraid of his own attack. At the beginning, the ancient Tianwu emperor also speculated that Qin Chen could not keep in such a state after taking some kind of pills to activate the potential. However, the two sides fought with each other for hundreds of moves in a blink of an eye. Qin Chen was still alive and vigorous, which made him feel that he was not. Right. It's really hard for Qin to suppress him for a long time. Why is this guy so strong? The ancient Tianwu emperor was full of curiosity. Now he can be sure that Qin Chen did not take pills to stimulate the potential, but used another method to achieve a leap in combat power, which made him excited and coveted. He must get such a secret method, and his strength will be increased by countless times. At that time, it will be no surprise to suppress the late peak of Emperor Wu, and become the strongest one in Yuan Empire's trip. The ancient Tianwu emperor was cold. He found that he couldn't take down Qin Chen for a long time. He was enraged and hummed. There was an inexplicable shadow on his head, like a streamer and a void. What kind of blood is this? Qin Chen was slightly surprised, and the crazy fight with the ancient Tianwu emperor made him hearty, and instantly understood his strength. But at the moment, the blood released by the ancient Tianwu emperor shocked him. It's as if it's shrouded in some mysterious power. Come out. It's the blood of the ancient Tianwu emperor. The legendary ancient blood vessels are said to freeze time and space. This is the top blood of the mainland. I'll see it today. The crowd was noisy, excited and attentive. An invisible streamer appeared from the top of the ancient Tianwu emperor, emitting a faint halo. Qin Chen was surprised. He found that his body seemed to be frozen, and could not move at all. Can ancient blood freeze time and space? He was shocked that there was such a blood in the world. The force of time and space is the force of time and space. However, the power of space and the power of Emperor Wu can be understood and mastered, but the power of time cannot be touched even by the power of time. This is a taboo field. But at the moment, the ancient Tianwu emperor's blood force has the power to freeze time and space. How can this be possible? However, Qin Chen clearly felt that his body seemed to be solidified, and all things in the world seemed to be still at this moment. No. Although the body can't move, Qin Chen can see that LV Yuanhao and others below can still move. He is the only one who is affected. Is he the only one imprisoned in time and space? But time and space are confined, why can his mind still work? Qin Chen exerted his soul power, and immediately found that there was a mysterious power in the void. It was this mysterious power that changed the operation of his true element and solidified the power of this space. He has a clear understanding in his heart, which should also make him unable to move. This is not a force of time and space, but a force of solidification, just like the force of space. Qin Chen breathed a sigh of relief. In fact, for a 7-level king of martial arts, an 8-level emperor of martial arts can use the space boundary to confine the other side in space. Is this also the power of time and space? Ridiculous. But we have to admit that the ancient Tianwu emperor's blood force is very strong. Even Qin Chen also hit the road for a time. His body was imprisoned, very powerful. Naturally, the ancient Tianwu emperor would not waste such an opportunity. He rushed to Qin Chen's eyebrows to pierce his head. Stop it. All of a sudden, a sharp voice rang out. It was Yu Changxiu who made a move. She was always concerned about the situation, and her body had infinite sword chi. Phew, phew. All over the sky, the ice sword swept over the sky and covered the earth. Get out of the way. Even if you are a law enforcement officer, you have no right to interfere. The ancient Tianwu emperor drank coldly, with a backhand and a bang. The palm print collided with the sword chi all over the sky, and both of them disappeared. Yu Changxiu's body shook and killed again. The ancient Tianwu emperor was surprised. He thought that this palm could push you back. Who ever thought that it didn't work? What's going on today? How did you meet such evil spirits? How can Yuan, a disciple of Emperor Xuanwu, be so famous? He was angry, and made another move. The sword chi was smashed all over the sky, and the snow flew down tens of meters. It has to be said that the ancient Tianwu emperor is worthy of being the top military emperor of Xuanyuan Empire. His strength is amazing. Yu Changxiu's all-out strength just barely resists him and can't bring him too many obstacles. However, because of Yu Changxiu's hand, Qin Chen seems to get a chance to breathe. His body is like jasper, emitting a breath beyond the ordinary world. Bang! The sword made of golden light stands on Qin Chen's body and bursts out endless light. Qin Chen keeps retreating, puffing, and a mouthful of blood spurts out. Qin Chen flies backward and seems to be seriously injured. Less dust. Yu Changxiu was shocked and angry, and killed again. Don't think you are the person of law enforcement hall. I dare not move you. If you mess up again, I will kill you together. The ancient Tianwu emperor was angry at Yu Qianzu's wantonness and sent Yu Changxiu out again. However, Yu Changxiu, after all, is the person of the law enforcement hall. No matter how arrogant the ancient Tianwu emperor is and how strong the Xuanyuan Empire is behind, he does not dare to kill a law enforcement officer in full view of the public. Snow, don't be nervous. I'm fine. There are too many people here. I'll contact you later. In the quiet Thousand Snow heart anxious, the ear came to the voice of Qin Chen. You Thousand Snow Leng. Then, she saw Qin Chen's body turn into streamer, sweep to the depth of the mountain forest. He seems to have exerted some kind of secret arts. His body shape has been raised to the extreme, and then disappeared in the mountain forest. Where to go? The ancient Tianwu emperor drank coldly and ran after him. In the blink of an eye, he also disappeared in the forest. Originally resounding through the valley immediately restored calm, leaving only a group of people looking at each other. Gentlemen, I'm going to leave first. I'll take my leave. Whoosh, whoosh. Many people left the valley without thinking about it. Such a good opportunity. Do not hurry to leave. If you wait for the ancient Tianwu emperor to come back, will not you still have to hand over the colorful fruit? Alas! LV Yuanhao and Ning Zetao and others looked at Yu Changxiu, then they arched their hands at Yu Changxiu and said, "Girl, you'd better inform the experts of Dan Pavilion or the experts of Law Enforcement Hall, otherwise, young Qin Chen." Speaking of this, they both sighed. Although the previous battle between Qin Chen and the ancient Tianwu emperor was inseparable, the previous fight clearly told the public that although Qin Chen was strong, he was still not the opponent of the ancient Tianwu emperor. Once the ancient Tianwu emperor caught up with Qin Chen was bound to be more and more unlucky. However, with the strength of the ancient Tianwu emperor, can't we pursue an early peak emperor? It's impossible to think about it. So they can only give Yu Changxiu such an idea. Thank you very much. Yu Thousand Snow nodded, and hurried to Qin Chen's place to leave, and quickly chased the past. Well, it would be a pity if you fell here because of your talent. Lu Yuanhao and Ning Zetao shook their heads one after another. They admired Qin Chen very much. If Qin Chen didn't open the valley in time and wait for the arrival of the ancient Tianwu emperor, could they distribute colorful spiritual fruits to Qin Chen? What's a pity. Qin Chen is not a good thing. He is just a little martial artist of the lower 4 regions. Even if he has some abilities, he has to go 40% at once. Now the retribution is coming. When Qin Chen killed the dragon warrior, was he not happy? He deserves it. But some people sneer, disdain, and even have a trace of schadenfreude in their eyes. Qin Chen, a disciple of the lower 4 regions, directly wants to walk 40% of the colorful linguo, which is nearly 80. Who is not jealous and whose eyes are hot? Now, seeing Qin Chen's misfortune, he suddenly felt secretly happy. Zhou Jiwei listened to the exchange of these people, her face could not help showing a trace of disgust. Is this the so-called strong man in martial arts? Compared with those in the next 4 regions, where are they tall? She was too lazy to stay with these people, and her eyes flashed, and then she flew in the direction of the quiet snow. She has a faint doubt in her heart. When Qin Chen ran away in a hurry, Yu Changxiu's eyes were a little nervous at first, but she soon calmed down. She didn't look worried about Qin Chen at all. There must be something strange in this. At this time, in the depth of the mountain forest, Qin Dust is flying at high speed, while constantly paying attention to the surrounding areas. After half a column of incense, Qin Chen had left the valley far away. After feeling that no one around him had followed him, he immediately stopped and quickly threw an array of flags around the mountain forest. As soon as these flags were thrown out, they were hidden in the void and disappeared. Qin Chen has just finished all this. Whoosh, the sound of breaking the sky rings, and a streamer of light suddenly sweeps over. It is the ancient Tianwu emperor who has been tracking all the way. Why didn't you escape? The ancient Tianwu emperor looked at the Qin Dust below and said in doubt. Why am I running away? The panic on Qin Chen's face has disappeared completely, and a faint sneer is outlined in the corner of his mouth. The ancient Tianwu emperor frowned slightly and felt a trace of wrong strength. Did the other party ambush the master here? He felt and diffused, but he did not feel the breath of other people at all. Within 100 miles, there were only 2 of them. Play tricks. The ancient Tianwu emperor drank coldly. He was too lazy to talk nonsense of Qin Chen. He directly urged the power of blood and patted it with one hand. The force of the blood of terror haunted Qin Chen and froze the void around him again. But Qin Chen was fearless, but a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, and thunder blood was also released. Boom! A startling force of thunder surged out of Qin Chen's body, setting him off as a lightning god of war in an instant. One thunder symbol after another appeared on his body, sending out an amazing breath of blood. Click, click. The thunder blood breath collided with the ancient blood force, and made a piercing roar. The ancient blood which the ancient Tianwu emperor was most proud of lost its function in an instant. What? The ancient Tianwu emperor was shocked. It was the first time that he saw someone who could block his blood. Damn it. What's more, how can this force of thunder be so strong? And with the power of destruction, does the other side have the same natural thunder body as the Wind Thunder Emperor? He was shocked, but Qin Chen seized the opportunity and directly urged Fan Tianyan to smash it. The black seal rose against the wind, like a towering mountain peak, smashed to the top of the ancient Kangwu Emperor with the breath of suppressing everything. In front of the ancient Kangwu Emperor, a golden shield was immediately tied up to block the blow of Qin Chen. With a sound, the shield trembled wildly, leaving a deep impression. The ancient Kangwu Emperor felt the pain of flesh, which was a treasure he cherished. Who knew that he was attacked by rice seedlings here, but what shocked him was the strength of Qin Chen. Did you retain your strength before? He exclaimed in disbelief. In front of him, the Emperor of Wu in the later stage of the 8th stage, Qin Chen had left some strength before. Qin Chen is too lazy to talk nonsense, and once again urges Fan Tianyan to smash up. What kind of treasure is this thing? The ancient Kangwu Emperor's eyes were startled and angry, and his eyes were cautious, but he also had the color of joy and jealousy. There are too many treasures on Qin Chen. This seal is definitely another treasure, and at least it is the top real treasure at the imperial level. Otherwise, it would not have hurt his Geng gold shield. Even he did not have a treasure, a small early Emperor Wu, but also from the next 4 regions of the Wu Emperor, so that he is a strong Xuanyuan Empire is some psychological imbalance. But it doesn't matter. As long as Qin Chen is captured, he can naturally get the secret he wants, and Baobing and Zhenbao are naturally available. Ha ha ha, you deliberately invited me here. I'm afraid you think there is still a card to kill me here, right? It's ridiculous. I've been in military territory for so many years. Can you, a little pariah, deal with it? Ancient Kangwu Emperor hands, golden palms like mountains. Qin Chen doesn't answer. He cuts out with one sword, and the sword spirit soars to the sky. When the golden shield stopped in front, but this time, there was a sword mark on it. Qin Chen doesn't like it and continues to do it. This time, he showed his extreme sword, and his terrible sword spirit swept across the world, just like the end of the day. Puff, puff, puff. Countless sword qi, like a storm, completely enveloped the ancient Kangwu Emperor. Little skills. The ancient Kangwu Emperor roared and roared. The real Yuan in his body was burning, and the golden breath was so strong that the sword spirit of Qin Chen was completely destroyed. All of a sudden, there were several bloodstains on his body, and the sword light almost cut off his body. What? He was shocked. 5 sword lights flashed on him. It was not the sword spirit, but the entity. 5 sword balls float in front of Qin Chen. They were mixed in the sword qi. Damn it. Just now, he would have suffered a great loss. Otherwise, he would have been angry. Kill. He drank and killed again. All kinds of bloody light appeared outside his body, forming strange runes. His combat power was more than doubled in an instant. He was angry and wanted to kill Qin Chen. Well, blood talisman turning key. Quote. Qin Chen's eyes congealed, gritted his teeth, and suddenly his eyes became extremely cold. This formula is to use your own blood essence to form the power of runes to improve the cultivation of martial arts in a short time. Compared with some magic arts and pills that stimulate the potential, the advantage of this formula is that, after being used, it will have few side effects and will not damage your own strength, but will only be weak for a moment. This formula was created by Qin Chen in those years and passed on to Feng Xiaoyu. Unexpectedly, the ancient Kangwu Emperor also knew this formula. Can you imagine the anger in his heart? Boy, you have some insight. This skill is really a blood talisman turning formula. It's a secret skill of our Xuanyuan Empire. I spent a lot of energy to get the chance to study. Today, you will take my life. He roared, strong to kill, towering blood and golden light combined together, turned into a sea of blood in general. Yes, Zhenguo secret arts, ridiculous. Qin Chen's eyes became colder and colder. The mysterious rusty sword was driven to the extreme, and the thunder burst out. With the power of terrible thunder, it was pointed on the ancient Kangwu Emperor dozens of times in a moment. Puff, puff, puff. The sword light fell on the ancient Kangwu Emperor, but the ancient Kangwu Emperor didn't care. Instead, He laughed coldly. It's useless. Once the blood rune turns, not only the attack power can be increased by more than twice, but the defense ability can be improved far beyond the attack power. Unless you can break the essence blood rune, otherwise, you can't even break the Emperor's defense. However, Qin Chen just drew a mocking smile at the corner of his mouth. Seeing that the ancient Tianwu Emperor's attack on the Sea of Blood was about to fall, suddenly, his blood amulet shook violently. Bang bang bang. A blood amulet can't help but explode. The breath on the ancient Tianwu Emperor is weakening. With the blink of an eye, the Sea of Blood disappears all over the sky. The breath on his body suddenly drops to the initial state, even lower. Puff, puff, puff. The sword spirit lingered in his body. In his anger, the ancient Emperor of Tianwu directly spurted blood and flew out. How? He was shocked and angry. He couldn't believe that his own blood talisman turning formula was broken. This is the secret skill of his Xuanyuan Empire. How could it be broken so easily, not to mention a boy from the lower 4 regions? Even the top Emperor Wu in the martial arts area could never break the secret skill of his Xuanyuan Empire. In a trance, he even thought he was dreaming. The seal of heaven. However, no matter how shocked the ancient Tianwu Emperor, Qin Chen used the secret skill he taught Feng Xiaoyu to deal with himself. Ridiculous. As long as you want, you can break this so-called Zhenguo secret. Boom. A huge black mark came down. The ancient Tianwu Emperor resisted in a hurry. Bang! He was shaken out and his mouth was bleeding, but Fan Tianyan was also shaken out. He retreated and wanted to look for opportunities again, but before he gasped, a big black tripod appeared in the void, emitting a breath more frightening than Fan Tianyan and suppressed him. What kind of treasure is this? The ancient Tianwu Emperor is going crazy. How can a kid from the lower 4 regions have so many treasures? Block it! He roared, and his body was full of brilliance. With a thump, the tripod fell. He coughed up blood crazily, and his skin cracked. It was terrible to see. He was overwhelmed by an almost irresistible force of terror. But in the end, he managed to resist. There was a pill in his hand, and he was about to swallow it. He wanted to look for an opportunity. But at this time, there was a dark shadow in the big tripod. He swung the white whip and wrapped it towards him. The ancient Tianwu Emperor was caught off guard and was immediately wrapped up by the white bone whip. The ancient Tianwu Emperor was shocked and struggled, but the strength of the black figure was incomparable. He was not inferior to him at all. At least, he was a strong man of Wu Emperor in the late 8th stage. He was very cold. How could he hide such an expert in the cauldron? This is not in line with common sense. Who the hell are you? The ancient Tianwu Emperor was surprised and angry, and his heart sank in an instant. GGG, who is this seat? You don't need to know. Maybe we can become partners soon. The Skull Helmsman said with a strange smile. Partner? What partner? The ancient Tianwu Emperor had never heard such a bleak voice. He was so frightened in his heart that his hair stood up all over his body. Skull Helmsman, don't waste time. On one side, came the cold voice of Qin Chen. Yes, Master, GGG. Skull Helmsman laughs. The spirit breath of the leader of the skeleton helmsman suddenly fluctuates. In a moment, the breath is full, and an evil and frightening soul shock spreads instantly. The soul is dead. The cold flame in his eyes was disorderly beating, and the invisible breath of soul rippled like water waves. When the breath of the soul diffused and opened, the ancient Tianwu Emperor's heart felt cold and trembled. He felt only a breath of death, which covered him. Not good. At the moment, he did not care to be shocked by the word, Master, said by the leader of the Skull Helmsman, and madly urged the will of Emperor Wu in his body. A breath of terror came out of him, which was the will of Emperor Wu in his body. However, this is the land of strange demons. The power of Emperor Wu's will in Tianwu land is greatly reduced when it comes to this place. Although the rules of Tianwu land are similar to those of the other demon land, they are different in essence. The power of Emperor Wu's will here is less than ever. GGG, in other places, although arrogant, but in this strange land, the will of Emperor Wu dare to be arrogant in front of this seat. The leader of the skeleton helmsman laughs grimly. This is its home. If it is in the ancient Yu kingdom, it may still be afraid of Emperor Wu's will, but now it is in the land of strange demons. Moreover, Its strength has recovered to the later stage of the 8th level, and even has advanced to the peak of the latter stage of the 8th order. How can he be afraid of the will of Emperor Wu? Boom! It burst out a torrent of evil qi, instantly wrapped up the will of Emperor Wu. It was not only crushing the will of Emperor Wu, but also swallowing the power of the will of Emperor Wu. Who is it? The will of Emperor Wu broke out in a voice of astonishment and anger. This evil spirit, is it a monster? Quote. Bang! Before the wave of consciousness generated by Emperor Wu's will had fallen, it had completely disappeared and was completely swallowed up by the skeleton helmsman. It can be felt that the momentum of the skeleton helmsman was suddenly improved, and a kind of inexplicable breath lingered on him, with the dignity of Emperor Wu. Of course, this is only a faint sense of dignity, not the real power of Emperor Wu, but even so, it is also terrible enough. Well, although it has never been moistened by the blood essence of the ancient eagle elder, it is the will of Emperor Wu after all. GGG has a special effect on the soul power of this seat. Skeleton helmsman grinned grimly. Elder Eagle, are you talking about the ancient eagle elder of the ancient Fang religion? The ancient Kangwu emperor was frightened, and his heart had unprecedented fear. Although the words of the skeleton helmsman did not match the following words, he clearly sensed the meaning of the skeleton helmsman. Previously, he even devoured the ancient eagle elder of the ancient religion. At this moment, he had an unprecedented fear. Who are these two guys? Boom! There was a light of space on his body. His eyes were red. He was burning blood essence and genuine. He wanted to leave here. Well, it's not honest up to now. The leader of the skeleton helmsman swung the bone whip, and at the same time made a buzzing sound. Countless array lights appeared around, completely blocking the space power in this area. It was really a big array set up by Qin Chen, which did not give the ancient Kangwu emperor the slightest chance to escape. No. The ancient Kangwu emperor was afraid and his soul fluctuated violently. Just then, Qin Chen's eyes, which had been watching at one side, burst out suddenly. Eyes of breaking the ban. The invisible power didn't enter the ancient Kangwu emperor's mind, and his eyes became confused. At the same time, a terrifying force of soul was urged by Qin Chen to rush into the mind of the ancient Kangwu emperor. He wanted to display his soul-destroying seal to enslave the ancient Kangwu emperor. Boom! The ancient Kangwu emperor robbed him more than the original Luo Mengqi. After the power of the Taoist soul entered the ancient Kangwu emperor's mind, he was immediately confronted with huge resistance. But it's no use. Under the double shock of the soul's extinction and breaking the forbidden eye, the soul of the ancient Kangwu emperor was in chaos. In addition, his mind was lost in his previous shock, and his resistance decreased by 30% again. The complex prohibition of soul, slowly engraved in the mind of the ancient Kangwu emperor, formed a soul-killing seal, firmly controlling the soul of the ancient Kangwu emperor. However, after the Luo Mengqi incident, Qin Chen also knew that those people of different demon clans could see through the soul-destroying seal. After the execution of the seal, Qin Chen did not stop. Instead, he continued to motivate the soul and set a Taoist prohibition in his mind. At the end of the day, the ghost seal in the mind of the ancient Sangwu emperor revealed the fog of Taoist soul, which was enough to cover the perception of the outside world. That's all it can do. Qin Chen only felt a feint in his mind and hastened to recover his soul power. He was sweating profusely, as if he had experienced a life and death war. He was even more tired and laborious than before when he had a real fight with the ancient Kangwu emperor. There is no way to do it. After all, the ancient Kangwu emperor was the emperor of Wu in the late 8th stage. Based on Qin Chen's current cultivation, he had to plant a soul-destroying seal in his mind and hide it. For Qin Chen, it was a huge project. Well, master, the ghost seal in this man's mind is hidden. The leader of the skeleton helmsman looked at Qin Chen in shock. If he had not known for a long time, it was not easy for him to see that the ancient Kangwu emperor had been enslaved by Qin Chen. At a glance, the soul of the ancient Kangwu emperor was very hazy. If they were seen by the group of people in black again, they could not be seen at a glance. It's just that the master is no more than a Terran boy. How can his spiritual attainments be so terrible? Even it is not worse than this demon king. Qin Chen didn't answer. He just breathed a sigh of relief. Obviously, he also felt the fog of soul in the mind of the ancient Kangwu emperor. In this way, although it can't be said that the people of different demon clans can't completely detect it, it's impossible to see at a glance that the other party has been enslaved. Finally, he controls another piece. Moreover, compared with Luo Mengqi, this chess piece is obviously more useful. Master, the ancient Kangwu emperor stood respectfully beside Qin Chen with a humble manner. In his mind, Qin Chen was his master. Unless Qin Chen took the initiative to disperse the soul-destroying seal, or someone broke his soul-destroying seal, his loyalty to Qin Chen would not change. Qin Chen didn't ask immediately, but after cleaning up the battlefield, he began to recuperate. The previous battle was too fierce, he consumed too much, and the ancient Kangwu emperor was seriously injured and needed to be healed. After a stick of incense, Qin Chen opened his eyes. His breath had been restored to 7,788, and the strength of the Emperor Kangwu had been restored to more than half, which was not a big problem. Whoosh! At this time, a broken air sound sounded, but Yu Changxiu rushed over. Bang! Single quote. When she saw the ancient Kangwu emperor, she was shocked and quickly lifted out her sharp sword. Don't worry, sister-in-law. This guy is no longer enslaved by his master. From now on, he will be the master's dog. Don't be afraid. The head of the skeleton helmsman laughed and said, call the mistress quickly. Mistress. The ancient Kangwu emperor respectfully said to Yu Changxiu. Yu Changxiu opened his mouth wide and looked at the ancient Kangwu emperor, who was extremely respectful and docile to himself, and his face was astonished and shocked. Slave. Although she knew that Qin Chen was magical, she could not expect that Qin Chen could enslave a Wu emperor in the late 8th stage. This is the Emperor Wu of the late 8th stage. Moreover, he is the top emperor of Xuanyuan Empire. His strength is so strong that when he is put in the northern sky region, he is almost a character who swept the northern heaven. He is enslaved by Qin Chen. How did it happen? However, she was just shocked for a moment. More thoughts were put on Qin Chen. She nervously came to Qin Chen and said, Little Dust, are you okay? She kept looking at Qin Chen for fear that Qin Chen would be hurt. She looked rather nervous. Qin Chen smiles and says, what can I do for you? It's okay. Yu Changxiu is excited. The stronger Qin Chen is, the more happy she is and the more proud she is of him. By the way, the ancient Kangwu emperor, what do you mean by the goddess of the magic sect? Have you ever seen the Thunder Emperor here? Qin Chen then thought of asking the ancient Kangwu emperor that he was very concerned about Feng Xiaoyu's descendants. Master, my subordinates have never seen the emperor, but I have heard that they have met the emperor. Because they have heard of the whereabouts of the fairy maiden of the magic school, they are now tracking the goddess of the magic sect. As for the specific location, it is not clear before the subordinate. But it should be deeper in the front. The ancient Kangwu emperor said respectfully. The goddess of magic school, you mean Chen Cixi? Yu Changxiu was stunned for a moment. Before the magic sect, the woman who was in the magic sect did not know what she belonged to. Ancient Kangwu Wangdao. That's Chen Cixi. Yu Changxiu's face suddenly sank. The skull helmsman's eyelids jumped and his face turned green. He slapped the ancient Sang Wu emperor's head fiercely and said angrily, damn, you're talking nonsense. What's the meaning of being with the master? That's why people have to pester the master. Do you know? The master didn't take the woman's eyes at all, whether you would speak or not. Quote. The old emperor can't speak. Don't you know that human women are jealous? I didn't look at the mother's face. I didn't have a brain. Mistress, don't listen to the old Kangwu emperor's nonsense. I don't understand my master. You are the only one in my heart. When I first came to this strange land, my master worried that you were in danger. It was the whole world looking for you. Is it? Yu Thousand Snow face slightly red, a face happy. Even if I deceive others, I dare not cheat my mistress. You don't know. The master heard that you are in danger. It's crazy. The skull helmsman flattered. It turns out that Little Dust cares so much about himself. Yu Changxiu was deeply moved. But soon, she responded and said in a hurry, Dust less, let's go and save Chen Cixi. In case Chen Cixi is found by the Thunder Emperor, it will be dangerous. Speaking of this, Yu Thousand Snow eyes burst out cold. Well, mistress, aren't you angry? The head of the skull helmsman was shocked. How did she become a matron to save the magic goddess? Angry. Why angry? Yu Changxiu was stunned and immediately responded, "You mean Chen Cece?" Although I don't like her, she is a woman who is naturally charming and has been appointed by the Demon Sword clan for a long time. Even if Chen Xiao is not interested in her, how can she be defiled by her men? Quote. Poof. The leader of the skeleton helmsman spurted out blood directly, and his eyes were as wide as the commander's eyes. Do you still have one like this? The previous explanation of emotion is totally self-indulgent. Less dust. Let's get there quickly. Yu Changxiu rode. Qin Chen nodded and his eyes flashed with cold light. He didn't mean to save Chen Cece, but for more purposes, or to kill Fengele Emperor and Fan Xiaoyu's son. If he doesn't kill him, how can he dispel his hatred? Let's go. Qin Dust, just ready to leave, suddenly seems to feel something, immediately said to the ancient Tianwu Emperor, "You go first, find the Wind Thunder Emperor, find the person, the first time to inform me." Yes. The ancient Tianwu Emperor nodded, sure, disappeared in the mountain forest. Forever night, you also return to Zhenmo Ding. Qin Chen raised his hand, and the leader of the skeleton helmsman immediately returned to the Zhenmo Ding, and was collected by Qin Chen. Just after finishing all this, a streamer appeared in Qin Chen's sight. It's Zhou Jiwei. Sure. Zhou Jiwei came to a few people, quickly fell down, looking at the safe and sound Qin Dust and U-thousand Snow. The first sentence down is, "You are actually okay." There was a look of doubt in her eyes. Qin Chen smiles and says, "Why, Miss Zhou, do you want Qin to do something?" No. Zhou Jiwei shook her head in a hurry, knowing that what she said was ambiguous. She explained in a hurry, "Wasn't the ancient Tianwu Emperor after you just now?" She clearly remembers that the ancient Tianwu Emperor was following Qin Chen, but now Qin Chen and Yu Changxiu are safe here, but the ancient Tianwu Emperor is gone. Qin Chen laughed. "You mean the ancient Tianwu Emperor? He didn't get this little before, so he left. Gone." Zhou Jiwei couldn't believe it. She looked around her eyes and saw that she had just experienced a fight. There were broken rocks and trees everywhere. Could it be said that the ancient Tianwu Emperor really left because he couldn't get Qin Chen? Hiss. What is the cultivation of Qin Chen? She couldn't help being shocked. Although she had great confidence in herself, she was still palpitating in the face of such powerful people as the ancient Tianwu Emperor. If Miss Zhou has nothing to do with it, Qin will leave first. Qin Chen pulls Yu Changxiu and turns to leave. Wait a minute. Qin Chen turned around and doubted, "I don't know if Miss Zhou has any advice." Zhou Jiwei hesitated for a while and bit her lips and said, "This place is very mysterious and dangerous. Jiwei wants to go with you together. I don't know if it can." As she spoke, she came forward. She also routinely asked, who would refuse a beauty like her and a disciple of the ethereal palace? Unexpectedly, Qin Chen laughed. "Miss Zhou, I'm really sorry. Qian Zhu and I have something to deal with. I'm afraid we can't be together with Miss Zhou. Miss Zhou, we're destined to see you." At the end of the speech, Qin Chen pulls Yu Changxiu and flies straight up. She doesn't even look back, leaving Zhou Jiwei alone in the mountain forest. "Qin Chen, I'm so angry." Zhou Jiwei stamped her foot and turned pale with anger. After joining the Wuyu Misty Palace, she thought that she would never have to be angry with Qin Chen in her life, but she didn't expect to change at all. Zhou Jiwei angry, but looked around the eyes, or some palpitations far follow Qin Chen. It's too dangerous here. Although she's a disciple of the Misty Palace, she can't rule out that some people will take risks when she leaves alone. It's safer to follow Qin Chen to attack her. Whoosh, whoosh. In the sky, two streamers flit past. It is the dust of Qin and the quiet snow. I don't know where Chen Cece is in the end. When can I find him in this way? Yu Changxiu is a little anxious. Qin Chen also had some helplessness, but at this time, they all fell asleep in the past. The place is so vast that it is really not a way to find it. But now, Qin Chen has no other means, can only urge the heaven and earth to create jade dishes, and sense the movement within 100 miles. It will take 2 days to find out. In 2 days, Yu Changxiu has taken all the 5 colorful fruits on her body. The space breath in her body has become more condensed, and a very fierce space breath is diffused. With less dust, I feel that the power of the 10 space principles in my body has been condensed to the extreme, and I can start to condense the power of the 11th space principle. You thousandths no surprise way. So you should be able to try to break through the midterm Emperor Wu. Qin Chen showed a little smile. In general, after the Emperor Wu condensed enough of the 10 principles of space, it would take a long time to be stable. The power of space principles is different from others. It cannot be condensed all the time, but needs to be stabilized constantly. If we continue to refine without stability, it will have a great impact on future breakthroughs and lead to unstable foundation. Now Yu Changxu has this feeling, which shows that her inner space Tao has reached an extreme, and she can try to advance to Wu Emperor in the middle of the 8th stage. It seems that these colorful fruits are really useful. Qin Chen was happy. In the past 2 days, he has been taking colorful spiritual fruits. These spiritual fruits melt at the entrance, forming a pure force, and condensing the power of spatial principles in his body. However, compared with Yu Changxu, his speed of condensing is much slower. So far, only 2 space principles have been condensed to the extreme, and 12 have not been condensed. At that time, Qin won't be long enough to take Kakai, but he will still be able to reach the peak in the early stage. The only worry is Chen Cece. However, so far, he has no clue, and even the ancient Kangwu Emperor has not transmitted any information. Obviously, he has not found the news of Fengele Emperor. And the group of people in black and the people in the Misty Palace also didn't have any information to send back, which also made Qin Chen vaguely worried. He didn't know what the purpose of these people was. However, Zhou Jiwei has been following her, thinking that Qin Chen didn't find out. In fact, her every move fell completely in Qin Chen's sight. At the moment, in a dense forest behind Qin Chen. What are they looking for? Zhou Jiwei some depressed pat to the body of the soil, some embarrassed with Qin dust 2 people. She has been following Qin Chen for 2 days, and she also vaguely feels that Qin Chen and Yu Changxu seem to be searching for something. When I see the people in the Misty Palace, I won't bother to follow you. Zhou Jiwei's angry way, in the heart held back a stomach of grievances. In order not to be thrown away by Qin Chen, she racked her brain. Fortunately, after taking 5 colorful fruit, she also condensed the power of space principle in her body to the extreme, so she did not get rid of it. But all the way to the confusion, there is no need to mention. All of a sudden, there was a violent fluctuation in the mountain forest ahead. Someone fighting. Qin Chen's mental strength immediately swept in the past, and soon he found that it was 3 people who were fighting. In fact, it is not so much a fight as a fight that 2 of them, who are at the peak of the 8th stage, want to stop the other Emperor of Wu in the middle of the 8th stage. However, although the cultivation of Emperor Wu in the middle of the 8th stage was not high, he was extremely strong. He broke out of the encirclement of the 2 men several times, and had many means. However, this man Qin Chen also knew that it was a man in the valley of colorful Linguo. He seemed to be a strong man of the dead demon sect, and his name was Yu Wencheng. Ding Hongda, you 2 dare to attack me. Aren't you afraid that the people of my demon sect will take revenge on you? But at this time, even if Yu Wencheng was powerful, he was only in the middle of the 8th stage. Under the siege of these 2 mid-peak emperors, he was already scarred. Qin Chen didn't plan to go to the muddy water. Now the most important thing is to find Fengele Emperor and Chen Cece. He was just about to leave here, but he found that Yu Wencheng unexpectedly flew to him. Just in the blink of an eye, the other party sensed Qin Chen and Yu Qianzu. It was too late for Qin Chen to go. Is it you? To the surprise of several people, after seeing Qin Chen, the 3 people exclaimed one after another, and their faces were full of surprise. Qin Chen is a little puzzled. Yu Wencheng is surprised. He can understand that the other party should want to ask him for help, but he doesn't know the other 2 guys at all, and he shows an extremely surprised expression. Is it because he is handsome? Want to make friends with him? Help! Young Chia Qin. Yu Wencheng came to Qin Chen and said excitedly. He had seen Qin Chen, and even the ancient Kangwu Emperor of Shuanyuan Empire could fight against it. Moreover, when he left, the ancient Kangwu Emperor was still chasing Qin Chen, but Qin Chen appeared here, which clearly showed that even the ancient Kangwu Emperor couldn't take Qin Chen down. Could he not be excited? When they see Yu Wencheng asking Qin Chen for help, they can't help laughing. Qin Chen is no more than a genius in Dan Pavilion. Even if there is a breakthrough, he is only the martial emperor in the early 8th stage. Is it funny that you ask a martial emperor in the early 8th stage for help? This is what we should say. However, they did not show it on their faces, but looked at each other. One of the leaders immediately came up and said with a smile, "Isn't this young Qin Chen from Dangay? I've heard of the name of young Qin Chen for a long time. I've heard of it for a long time, and I've met with young Qin Chen." Quote, "He was so polite that people who didn't know thought he was asking for help. It turns out that they are two of the heavenly ghost sect." Qin Chen's tone is a little insipid. At the moment, what he is most eager for is to find Fengele Emperor as soon as possible. However, it's good to see these two people, so he can ask them casually. Yu Wencheng is surprised to find that he has become a minor figure. However, with Qin Chen around, he does not continue to escape. Qin Chen once again arched to Yu Wencheng and said, "Brother Yu, we haven't been apart for a long time. It's really predestined." Before Yu Wencheng had time to speak, Ding Hongda said with a smile, "It turns out that you know young Qin Chen, but I didn't say it earlier. Since you know young Qin Chen, it's our friend. I've been offended before." At this time, even Yu Changsu frowned. Before that, the three men were clearly fighting for life and death. Who knows that after seeing Qin Chen, the two people who pursued him stopped, and they were still so enthusiastic that even the people who pursued them did not pursue them. If Qin Chen knows two people well, but Qin Chen doesn't know them at all. What medicine are these two guys selling in the gourd? Yu Wencheng, what happened to you just now? Qin Chen also felt confused and asked. Yu Wencheng just wanted to speak, but one of the Wahuang of Gazong laughed. "It's okay, it's nothing. It's just a misunderstanding. Just now I found a space pool, but Yu Wencheng rushed in. We were afraid that Yu Wencheng would spread the news. So we wanted to leave him, it was just a misunderstanding." Space pool. Qin Chen was immediately surprised. As a Wahuang at the peak of the 8th stage in his previous life, how could he not know the space pool? Space pool, only in places like the ancient Yu Kingdom, is the ultimate force of space, forming a pool of water, which is equivalent to the soul pool. There is a certain difference between the force of space in the pool of space and the force of space in the ancient Yu Kingdom. The difference is that the force of space in the pool of space is very soft, and it can be absorbed without considering the side effects. If we say that the force of absorbing space in the normal ancient Yuji is 10 times that of the outside world, then the power of absorbing space in the space pool is more than 100 times that of the outside world. And in the space pool, there are often a lot of space crystals, so if anyone can find a space pool, the harvest will be far greater than other martial arts. In the past, some people occasionally found the space pool in the experience of the ancient Yu Kingdom. The final result is that the person found can easily break through to the peak of the late 8th stage, and after leaving the ancient Yu Kingdom, there will be a large number of powerful warriors in the clan. Just after the excitement, Qin Chen was cold again. If at first, he only doubted the intention of the ghost sect, then now, he is completely suspicious of the two people and knows that they are malicious. Not to mention that he and the two people did not know each other at all. Even if a very close friend found a pool of space, it would often lead to killing. These two people even told themselves without hesitation, which is not in line with common sense. If there is no other purpose. Yu Wencheng, did you really find the space pool? Qin Chen immediately looked at Yu Wencheng. Yu Wencheng was a little surprised. He just wanted to open his mouth, but he was interrupted by the ghost clan people that day. "Young Qin Chen, how can we cheat you? If you don't believe it, you can come with us. The pool of space is near here. Go." Quote. The man is going to pull Qin Chen. With a clap, Qin Chen clapped the man's hands and said faintly, "Why are you so anxious? Let's let this little understand the situation first." The Wu Emperor's face was suddenly ugly. He said that there was a space pool. Qin Chen had to understand clearly. What did he know? His face suddenly appeared a trace of cold, suddenly stretched out a big hand of genuine and grabbed Qin Chen. In his mouth, he said in a cold voice, "If I let you go, it's because I look up to you. You can go today. If you don't go, you have to go." Qin Chen grinned coldly, his whole body was soaring, and the space boundary was fully unfolded. Before Qin Chen's hand had been caught by him, he was frozen in the space and collapsed directly. Then the man felt that his whole body was bound. And it became extremely difficult to move. How can your space boundary be so strong? With a look of horror on his face, he immediately moved his whole body to fight for the boundary between Qin Chen and Genuine. At the same time, his own power of space also diffused, turning into an amazing boundary, trying to open the boundary of Qin Chen. Boom! The two forces collided wildly. However, the man could not break Qin Chen's power of demarcation no matter how he exerted his power of space. His mid-peak martial emperor's power of demarcation was not as powerful as Qin Chen's early peak. There was a sudden shock on his face. That's what you're talking about, finding the pool of space. After finding the space pool, your power of space is still so weak, which is really unexpected. Qin Chen sneered and said. Although his accomplishments reached the peak in the middle of the 8th stage, the power of space was not so strong. It was clearly the power of the 30 principles of space that had just been condensed in the ancient Yu kingdom, and had not yet been consolidated. But if you really found the space pool, how could this person's space be so weak? Stop it. Seeing this scene, Ding Hongda's face suddenly changed slightly and raised his hand to rescue his companion. How could Qin Chen give him the chance to rescue him? He directly urged the boundary of the sword. In the void, countless sword chi condensed and turned into the sky sword light, completely enveloping the Emperor Wu. At the next moment, blood splashed all over the sky. The Emperor of Tianwu sect, who was bound by Qin Chen, burst into pieces and turned into bloody rain. At this time, Ding's sword came to attack. You, how dare you kill Huang Lan? Quote. His face suddenly became very angry, his face became extremely gloomy, and there was a trace of fear in his voice. One move, only one move, Huang Lan was destroyed by Qin Chen. Even if Huang Lan underestimated the enemy again, he was also a mid-term peak of Wu Emperor. At this moment, he finally understood why Yu Wencheng would be surprised to ask Qin Chen for help when he saw Qin Chen. This son's strength is much more terrible than he imagined. Huang Lan belittles the enemy. However, with Qin Chen's power to kill him in a moment, Ding Hongda estimates that even if he is fighting with all his strength, he must be Qin Chen's opponent. For a moment, he is shocked and angry. He knows that even if he wants to avenge Huang Lan, he will never. Not now. But when his mind turned, Ding Hongda made a decision. He laughed and hugged his fist and said, since young Chia Qin is not interested in us, Ding will leave first. With that, Ding Hongda turns to leave. Qin Chen's terrible skill makes him not want to stay for a second. Qin Chen said with a slight sneer, you are really free. You can come and go if you want. Qin Chen said this, put away Huang Lan's storage ring, and then the power of space filled his body. He looked at Ding Hongda calmly. Obviously, as long as Ding Hongda escaped, he would start. Ding Hongda's face changed a little. Although he knew that he was not Qin Chen's opponent, Qin Chen's words were a bit too bullying. Anyway, he was also the mid-term peak of Tianwu sect, and he was limited to go. This was too much. What is more irritating is not Qin Chen's words, but his attitude. The indifference in his eyes makes him look like an ant. What do you mean by this, young Chia Qin? You killed the Wu Emperor of Tianwu sect. I haven't settled accounts with you yet. Do you have to force Ding to stay? When Ding Hongda said this, his momentum broke out completely, and the space around him could even sweep some ripples. But the heart is very uneasy. He is stronger than Huang Lan, but his strength is limited. Since Qin Chen killed Huang Lan, in order to prevent the news from passing out, he is likely to be killed. Qin Chen sneers coldly. Although Ding Hongda's momentum is amazing, it is far worse than the ancient Eagle Elder. It is not pleasant to say that Ding Hongda is nothing in Qin Chen's eyes. You're right. I want to keep you. What about you? Qin Chen doesn't have any nonsense at all. He doesn't like trouble, so he doesn't want to make trouble, but he never goes to hide for the trouble he gets. If he didn't want to inquire about something, he killed Huang Lan and Ding Hongda as well. You. Ding Hongda's face turned red with anger. What he said just now, coupled with the momentum that broke out, was to make Qin Chen a little afraid. When Qin Chen was afraid, he would take out some things to compensate and exchange for some vitality. He just wanted to find a step. But who knows, Qin Chen didn't give him a step down at all. This time he was even more alarmed. Qin Chen clearly wanted to kill his mouth. Ding Hongda did not care about anything else. With a wave of his hand, a black light circled around his body and finally fell on his hand. Qin Chen has already seen clearly that this is a pair of double hooks of the sun and the moon, but the two hooks crisscross, which looks like a ring. This is still a top imperial soldier. As soon as the sun and the moon are sacrificed, they bring a series of hook shadows around Ding Hongda. One after another, these hook shadows form a black ring, which erupts into an amazing momentum. Before Ding Hongda has made a move, the momentum formed by the terrible double hook makes Yu Wencheng feel a burst of breath stagnation. He had seen this double hook of the sun and the moon before, and knew that the two hooks were so powerful that he tried his best to escape and stimulate his own potential every time. When he calmed down and looked at it from the side, he knew that he could escape from Ding Hongda's hands to get here. It was really a fluke. The sun and moon have not yet attacked, but they have brought up a buzzing sound in the air, which makes people feel that once they are caught by the hook shadow, they will be hanged to pieces. Ding Hongda did not take the initiative to sacrifice his treasure soldiers. Instead, he looked at Qin Chen coldly. The meaning is very obvious. I'm not afraid of you to beat me. Qin Chen immediately laughed. Ding Hongda was afraid that he was not a fool. He still used this threatening attitude. Would he be afraid of his mid-term peak Emperor Wu? He was too lazy to talk nonsense, so the realm of sword was directly used. In an instant, the sword spirit was everywhere in the world, as if he had fallen into a sea of sword spirit. Ding Hongda didn't expect that Qin Chen said that he would fight. He had no time to think about it. He quickly sacrificed the sun and the moon. The innumerable black hook shadows that surrounded each other immediately exploded. Bang! The terrible sword chi instantly tore open countless hook shadows and shot them into Ding Hongda's body. With a whiff, Ding Hongda spits out a mouthful of blood directly. What? Ding Hongda was surprised that he was defeated with one move. He was so frightened and angry that he was about to urge Zhenyuan to rush out of here, but before he had a chance to attack, a force of terrifying space had come, and he was firmly locked in the center. Hum. Countless lights and shadows formed a dazzling sword in front of him, pointing to his eyebrows. Obviously, as long as he dared to move, the sword would pierce into his eyebrows and crush his soul. If you dare to kill me, the Heavenly Ghost Sect will not let you go. Ding Hongda was scared out of his wits and cried out in panic. Qin Chen is speechless. Why do these guys say such inexplicable words when they are dying? Don't you kill him, will Tianwu let him go? As a matter of fact, if you kill him yourself, the people of the Heavenly Ghost Sect may not know that a man killed himself. On the contrary, if he does not kill him, there will be danger. Come on, why did you have to take me to another place just now? What was your intention? Qin Chen said with a smile. I really found a space pool. I want to take you there. Ding Hongda's eyes flashed for a moment and even said. Qin Chen's eyes are cold. By this time, Ding Hongda still doesn't tell the truth. Less dust. Just now there was a special breath of space treasures. At this time, Yu Wencheng said. What's going on? Qin Chen looks at Yu Wencheng suspiciously. Yu Wencheng immediately said to Qin Chen, Young Xia Qin, after leaving the valley before, I have been flying to the depths to find the master of his clan. Who knows that after flying for a long time, he didn't see the strong one in the clan. Instead, he felt a strong spatial fluctuation in an abandoned market. This space fluctuates very strongly, even more intense than the interior of the ancient Yu kingdom. I was surprised that I had found some space treasure. I was just about to rush into the ruins. Who knows, someone was guarding the gate of the ruins, and then Ding Hongda and Huang Lan rushed out and began to chase after them. Quote. I managed to escape here. If it wasn't for Qin, I would have been in danger. Qin Chen frowned. So, is there really a space pool in the ruins? I don't know if there is a space pool, but it is certain that there is a space treasure. I just don't know what it is. Yu Wencheng did not enter the ruins after all, so he was not sure. It's the space pool. Qin, there's no need for Ding to cheat you. Just now we wanted to dedicate the space pool to young Xia Qin, so we were going to take him there. Ding Hongda said in a hurry. Qin Chen sneered. Did Ding Hongda think he was stupid? I don't know whether there is a space pool, but Ben Shao is sure that there is something else. Let's say, what is in the ruins? What's the purpose of taking Ben Shao with you? Quote. It's the space pool. If you don't believe it, you can go over and have a look. Then you will know. Ding Hongda pleaded. Not to tell the truth. Qin Chen laughed and said to Yu Wencheng, you killed him. What? Yu Wencheng was stunned. Let you kill him, don't you hear me? Qin Chen said faintly, these two people originally pursued you. You don't want me to kill you for you. Yes. Yu Wencheng was stunned at first, but then he was surprised. He was worried that Qin Chen killed himself in order to kill him. Now he asked himself to kill Ding Hongda. He suddenly realized that Qin Chen wanted to drag himself into the water and let himself fall into the water and not hurt him. In this way, he will be safe. Yes, I will. Yu Wencheng turns his head, and he is going to make a move. I said, it's Fengalei Emperor. In the ruins, we Tianwu sect wanted to alliance with Xuanyuan Empire. Before that, outside the boundary of Guyu, you repeatedly challenged Fengalei Emperor, so we want to take you to Fengalei Emperor and let him dispose of it. Ding Hongda's face changed greatly, and he cried out in a hurry. What? Thunder Emperor? Qin Chen's lazy eyes suddenly became cold and sharp, and he said, so, isn't the fairy maiden also there? How do you know? Ding Hongda himself was stunned. Qin Chen understood the whole story in an instant. It should be that Fengalei Emperor accidentally found a space pool while tracking Chen Cece, and at the same time found a group of Ding Hongda. After Ding Hongda saw himself, in order to please Fengalei Emperor, they wanted to bring himself to the past. It's so hard to find a place to get it. The Eye of Magic forbidden. Qin Chen is too lazy to ask again, and directly displays the Eye of Illusory Prohibition, which confuses Ding Hongda. Come on, what's going on there? Qin Chen said coldly. Under the control of Qin Chen's illusory forbidden eye, Ding Hongda immediately told the whole story about the ruins. It turns out that in order to curry favor with the Xuanyuan Empire, Tianwu sect has been flattering Fengalei Emperor ever since he entered the ancient Yu kingdom. It is said that after the Emperor Fengalei fell in love with the goddess of the Phantom Demon sect, he tried his best to find the trace of the goddess for him. They didn't expect to be found by them. A group of people traced all the way. As a result, they came to this piece of ruins and found the remains of the space pool. And the magic fairy maiden and his party were trapped in the ruins and became the turtle in the urn of the Emperor Fengalei. In addition to the goddess of the magic sect, there is also a top-level Tianzhao of the Law Enforcement Hall, who is also trapped in the ruins of the space pool. Who is the top Tianzhao in the Law Enforcement Hall? Yu Changxiu was surprised and asked in a hurry. I don't know, but according to Emperor Fengalei, he seems to be a disciple of the Ji family of the Hermit family. He is dressed in white and has excellent sword skills. Even Fengalei can't take him down for a while. His appearance is very beautiful, just like a fairy. Ding Hongda said in a wooden voice. Like the moon, it must be like the moon. Yu Thousand Snow is startled, say in a hurry, the face suddenly emerged a tense color. Among all the arrogance of the Law Enforcement Hall, only Ji Ruyu is in line with Ding Hongda's description. Less dust, we must rescue Ruyu. Yu Changxiu holds Qin Chen's hands and says anxiously. Qin Chen is the first time to see Yu Changxiu so concerned about a person. It seems that Ji Ruyu is really good for Changxiu when she is in the Law Enforcement Palace. Yu Wencheng, kill him. After asking the location of the ruins, Qin Chen suddenly said something to Yu Wei. Yes. Without hesitation, Yu Wencheng directly slaps Ding on the top of Ding Hongda's head. With a bang, the soul in Ding Hongda's mind disappears instantly and falls directly in his confusion. Snow, let's go. Then, without hesitation, Qin Chen was in a flash, and suddenly plundered toward the ruins, leaving Yu Wencheng alone. Yu Wencheng hesitated for a moment, but he still didn't follow Qin Chen. The remains of the space pool are good, but he also heard that there are not only Fengalei Emperor of Xuanyuan Empire, but also people of magic sect and Law Enforcement Hall. With his strength in the past, he was just looking for death. He was lucky to escape this time. He did not dare to pass. His body was in a flash and disappeared in an instant. Sure. Not long after Yu Wencheng left, Zhou Jiwei appeared here. Looking at where Qin Chen left, she frowned and said, "What did Qin Chen really hear? How did they suddenly become so anxious?" She thought for a moment. Finally, or along the Qin dust, and Yu Changsu disappeared, quietly followed up. "Yongye, you are outside. I'll let you know as soon as possible." On the way, Qin Chen first released the leader of the skeleton helmsmen and said in a deep voice. He was afraid that in case of special circumstances, it was not convenient to expose the skeleton helmsman, but if the skeleton helmsman appeared as an outsider, there would be no problem. "GGG, Master, I understand." "GG," the leader of the skeleton helmsman said with a smile that there is another battle. His favorite thing now is to fight, because only by swallowing can its strength be improved at an amazing speed, which is much faster than the recovery of cultivation. At this time, thousands of miles away from Qin Chen, there was a piece of ruins, and in the ruins, there was a thin layer of mist. These mists, the spatial waves that haunt Taoism, are actually the essence of the fog formed by the force of space. They are scattered from a pure white pool. On the edge of this pool, there is an array, in which the three women are firmly surrounded in the middle, and their faces look startled and angry. If Qin Chen was here, he would immediately recognize them as Ji Ruyu, Chen Cixi, and an elder of the magic sect. The three of them were all injured and looked a little embarrassed. On the ground of the ruins, there were still 2 corpses lying on them. It seems that they are also the strong men of the magic sect. At this time, the 3 men were in a small array, their faces were startled and angry. Among them, the elder of magic sect was the most seriously injured. His clothes had been torn open several times, revealing the faint skin inside, which made people feel extremely tempting. "Why, Elder Ghost, didn't you say that you know a little about the array? It's been so long, why can't you break a small array?" A young man in a military robe stood proudly in the middle of the ruins. It was the Storm and Thunder. There was a faint ray of thunder around him. Beside him, there were several powerful men with extraordinary momentum. They were all the strong men of Xuanyuan Empire. Among them, there is a man with a thick breath, who is actually the late Emperor Wu, who is leading the way of space fog. In addition, there are 2 strong men in the clothes of Tianwu sect. One of them is holding a skeleton scepter and hanging a skeleton necklace composed of 9 children's heads around his neck. He is frantically driving a black fog to attack the formation of Ji Ruyus guarding the 3 men. Every time the black fog was urged, there were fierce ghosts howling, and there were faint faces of fear, floating and twisting in the black fog, full of pain. This man is the elder of the Heavenly Ghost sect, and also the Emperor of Wu in the late 8th stage. Beside him, he is an auxiliary mid-peak Emperor of martial arts. Hearing the rain and thunder's question, the skeleton ghost elder's ferocious face suddenly showed a trace of respect, wiped his cold sweat and said in a low voice, "Emperor, although the array arranged by these 3 people is small, it is the most famous guard array in the law enforcement hall. It belongs to a simple array of the 8th order. Peak array. If it is under the defense of one's heart, it is extremely difficult, unless the other side opens the array voluntarily, otherwise, if you want to break it, I still need a little time." Quote. "A little time. You've been breaking through for almost an hour now, haven't you? A little time. How long will it take?" Rain Thunder discontented to say. "If there is no accident, half a column of incense will be enough," said the elder. "Half incense." The Wind Thunder Emperor Sun coldly smile. "Good. That Emperor Sun again wait for you half column fragrant time, anyway will that space fog lead away still need some time." The Wind Thunder Emperor said, while looking at the 3 Ji Ruyu in the array. Tut said, "I said 3, why do you need it? Anyway, sooner or later, it will fall into the hands of this emperor. Why don't you obediently obey this emperor and don't have to bear hardships?" Rain and Thunder, I bar, Xuanyuan Empire disciple. I didn't expect to be such a person. If you dare to touch our hair, my Ji family will never let you go. Ji Ruyu said coldly, her face gloomy. Ji family. Wind Thunder Emperor Sun ha ha a smile, and then eyes a sink, sneer way. Ji family calculate what thing? He chuckled and said, "Originally, I only wanted to play with the goddess of magic sect. But you had to step in. Tut tut, such a beautiful woman, I can hardly see him in Xuanyuan Empire. Today, I want to enjoy double swallows in my arms. I really want to wait for you. Fengele Emperor stretched out his tongue and licked the corner of his mouth. His eyes showed the light of lust. I'm a disciple of the Law Enforcement Hall. If you dare to move me, the Law Enforcement Hall will never spare you. There are also 2 of you, Tianwu sect guys. Aren't you afraid to destroy the door? Ji Ruyu was furious. She was also involuntarily involved. Originally, she was attracted by the atmosphere of space here, but she did not expect that after she came in, she found the Xuanyuan Empire and the people of the Heavenly Ghost sect were fighting against the magic people. As a disciple of the Law Enforcement Hall, Ji Ruyu is not afraid of the people of Xuanyuan Empire, and doesn't want to be in charge of the broken affairs of magic sect and Xuanyuan Empire. She is only interested in the space pool. However, Chen Cece recognized her and directly asked her for help. However, the Xuanyuan Empire and the Tianwu sect were afraid that things would spread out, which directly forced Ji Ruyu into the ruins. If the Emperor Fengele randomly moves a disciple of the magic sect, it is nothing, but what he wants to move is the saint daughter of the magic sect. In the magic school, the saint daughter is the candidate for the next leader. How can he move? Once the news gets out, the people of the magic sect will certainly be furious, and even fight directly with the Heavenly Ghost sect and Xuanyuan Empire. This is the Heaven Ghost clan and Xuanyuan Empire cannot bear. As the latest rising power in the mainland in the past 300 years, the leader of magic sect is extremely mysterious. No one has ever seen its true face, but its means are extremely cruel, and they are not afraid of any top power. Therefore, the people of Xuanyuan Empire and Tianwu sect must not let the news spread. Anyway, people died in the ancient Yu kingdom. Once they went out, no one could find out the clue. As for Ji Ruyu, she was only a hapless person who was involuntarily involved. However, to their dismay, Ji Ruyu's identity was no less than that of the goddess of the magic school. He was not only a disciple of the Law Enforcement Hall, but also a direct disciple of the Ji family, one of the mainland's hermit families. This makes the ghost elder burst into a cold sweat. The Ji family and the Law Enforcement Hall are absolutely the 2 overlords in the martial area. If they know what happened here, Xuanyuan Empire may still have a chance to deal with each other, but his Tianwu sect will be in bad luck. At this stage, the Elder of Skeleton and Ghost can only do nothing and never stop. He takes down both of them and hands them over to the Emperor Fengele. He can never let them go out of here alive. Thinking of this, the Ghost Elder's face was even more ferocious, and said with a grim smile, "Kill the door. I just want to capture you here today. Who knows it was me? What's more, it's the Emperor Fengele who looks on you. I don't know how many women want to get such an opportunity in the world of martial arts. Why don't you obey the Emperor?" Quote. For fear of a long night's dream, the Elder of Skeleton and Ghost also pushed the skeleton scepter to the extreme. He could only hear the whining of ghosts and howls, and the black fog all over the sky fell on the array barrier crazily, causing ripples. Poof! For a long time, the magic master once again spewed out a mouthful of blood. The red blood splashed on her body, which was particularly shocking. "Elder Phantom!" Chen Cece immediately exclaimed, and his face was worried. "Saint, I'm afraid the old slave won't last long." The Shadow Elder's face was very pale, and his face was bitter. "No, Master Phantom, hold on," Chen Cece said with a cry. With her several magic master strong, for her previously dead 7,788, now is the Phantom Elder also going to die? Chen Cece's heart aches and sorrows. She feels like a sweeper and brings disaster to others. "Saint, don't be sad for the old slave. It's the old slave's blessing to serve the saint." The Phantom Elder coughed up a mouthful of blood again, and said bitterly, "Listen to the old slave, after the array breaks, I will try my best to stop the Elder Skeleton Ghost. We will rush to the ruins with all our strength. We must not be left behind. In this way, the old slave will be at ease." No, Chen Cece shook his head and said with tears, "You will not die, Elder Phantom. You will not die." The Phantom Elder said with a bitter smile, "Holy Lady, although you have not been to the magic sect for a long time, you are an old slave. You have seen the kindest saint. I am really happy to serve her." Boom! At this time, the array shield in front of the 3 suddenly roared and made a violent fluctuation. The array is going to break. Ji Ruyu's hand instantly appeared the ancient sword, her eyes became extremely cold, and she said in a cold voice, "We all work together, we may not be able to rush out." Chen Cece also suddenly stood up, eyes become incomparably resolute. The Shadow Elder quickly swallowed a pill. He just wanted to say something. With a bang, the array in front of the three people broke instantly. GGG, I finally broke it. All three of you are arrested. The skeleton ghost elder grinned grimly. When the skeleton scepter waved, an astonishing black fog filled out, like a nine-headed snake, towards the three people. Kill. Ji Ruyu angrily drinks, and the blood of the sky sword appears on her head. At the same time, the boundary of the sword immediately diffuses out. The ancient sword in her hand explodes with astonishing pressure, and it is cut out with one sword. Click. As if a thunder sword light appeared in heaven and earth, the black fog suddenly split a gap, and the Phantom Elder also moved. With one hand, she gave her all her strength to fight for her life. In a moment, countless palm prints appeared in the void, and the fog in front of her was cleared out. Go. Whoosh. Ji Ruyu and Chen Cece rush out at the same time and plunder to the exit of the ruins. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Boom. All of a sudden, there are thunder and lightning between heaven and earth. The Emperor of Wind and Thunder appears in front of them like the god of thunder. With one hand, the sky and the earth are full of thunder, as if the end of the day is coming. At the same time, several Emperor Wu of Xuanyuan Empire shot together and intercepted them. Ji Ruyu and Chen Cece are absolutely the top Tianzhou. Even in the face of the late 8th stage Emperor Wu, they have the strength to fight against. However, they were injured before. In addition, many powerful Xuanyuan Empire surrounded them, and there was Fengalei Emperor, the top Tianzhou. How can they resist it? All of a sudden, he was defeated. Saint. The Phantom Elder was shocked and angry. He wanted to rescue, but he was stopped by the Ghost Elder. G. Don't worry. I heard that the women of the magic school are extremely charming. I also want to taste your taste. GG. The Elder of Skeleton and Ghost laughed. For a moment, the three people were totally unable to resist, and were about to fall in an instant. It's over. Am I going to die here? Ji Ruyu was very angry. Chen Cece, don't worry about too much. Show your cards. Under the moon, Wu Ji's mind suddenly fell. A breath of terror filled her body, and then, an empty shadow appeared on the top of Ji Ruyu's head. She was an old man, and with all her actions, she exuded tremendous pressure. It's the ancestor of the Ji family. However, unlike in the martial arts region, Ji Ruyu is now in the land of strange demons. Not only is the power of Ji's ancestors suppressed, but also the will of Ji's ancestors can't penetrate the ancient Yu kingdom and pass on. This also leads to the serious weakening of the power of the will of Emperor Wu on Ji Ruyu's head. The virtual shadow of Ji family's ancestor is just the power of will itself. Once the strength dissipates, the virtual shadow of Emperor Wu will collapse completely. But that's enough. Boom. The old man put out his hand and suddenly blocked the attack of the powerful men of Xuanyuan Empire. An invisible force wrapped Ji Ruyu and wanted to take Ji Ruyu away. At the same time, Chen Cece is also filled with amazing pressure. A graceful figure appears on her head, which is also the will of Emperor Wu. At the same time, the two Emperor Wu's volition broke out at the same time. In the ruins, the wind exploded and the heaven and earth collapsed. The powerful forces broke the Xuanyuan Empire's troops out of a gap in an instant. Elder Phantom. Chen Cece urges Emperor Wu to save the Phantom Elder and bring him out of the ruins. Holy daughter, leave me alone. The Phantom Elder is very anxious. At this time, the sun should rush out of the encirclement at the first time. How can she miss here because of herself? Ha. Do you think you can escape in this way? The will of Emperor Wu seems to think that no one has it. Quote. The Emperor of Wind and Thunder laughed. At the next moment, many of the Emperor Wu of Xuanyuan Empire also broke out with terrible murders, and all kinds of empty shadows of Emperor Wu began to emerge. Boom. A lot of will of each other collide with each other in turn, and form a void. Poof. At the sound of the sound, Ji Ruyu and others were shocked and retreated one after another. Under the huge impact, They spat blood one after another, and were once again blocked in the ruins, and it was difficult to escape. The will of Emperor Wu on their heads dissipated wildly. Until the end of the day, they could not tear apart the encirclement of Xuanyuan Empire. The will of Emperor Wu on the heads of many powerful people in Xuanyuan Empire also exploded and dissipated. Different Emperor Wudi's will strength is different. If the will of Emperor Wu can be moistened in the outside world, he may be able to fight by virtue of his different accomplishments. But now in the land of strange demons, the will of Emperor Wu can only rely on their own strength to fight, so that, eventually, it can only lead to the end of both the extinction. Ha ha ha, don't you want to escape? Why didn't you escape? The Emperor of Fengele burst out laughing with pride. I have never failed to catch the prey I want. Tut. Both of them are great beauties. I really don't know who to start with first. Lustful eyes look at two people. Rain and Thunder seems to be making a difficult choice. Mean. Ji-Ruyu spits, holding a seal-off sword. Cold voice said, eyes incomparable cold. Mean. I like it. Fengele Emperor was scolded by Ji-Ruyu. He was not ashamed, but became more and more excited. This emperor likes the strong people most. In this case, let's start with you first. He laughs and raises his hand to capture Ji-Ruyu. Chop. Ji-Ruyu urges Fengjue sword to cut it out and blast it out. The Wind Thunder Emperor is shocked backward, but she spews out a mouthful of blood again. The strength is good, but it's a pity that we can't see enough in front of the Emperor. Wind Thunder Emperor sneer, body shape between a flash, suddenly came to Ji-Ruyu body. The realm of sword. Ji-Ruyu urges the boundary of the sword. In an instant, countless sword lights appear in front of her body and cut away. As soon as the Emperor of Wind and Thunder lifted his hand, the thunder burst out in his palm, puff, puff, and countless sword chi burst into pieces in an instant, unable to approach him at all. Damn it, I'm hurt too much. Ji-Ruyu grits her teeth. If it is in full bloom, she will never be so embarrassed. But after being seriously injured, her strength is now only half of the original, and she immediately fell behind in front of the storm and thunder. However, it is impossible for her to be captured. She vomited blood essence and urged the blue ancient sword in her hands. She did not have to fight her own death, and she could not bear the final result. The green ancient sword suddenly erupts amazing sword chi. A sword shines through the world and bursts out the dazzling light. The light of the sword roars like the song of a dragon or a phoenix. The ancient blue sword is sealed off. The sword seems to be revived. Knowing that the master is in danger, he takes the initiative to meet the enemy. This scene was met on the first floor of the Demon Sword Tower. If the ancient sword has a spirit, it blooms brilliantly, as if it has consciousness. The sword light containing the extreme sword shadow rises into the sky and cuts into the wind and rain thunder. Poof! Rain thunder forehead, there are 3 broken hair falling, the face appeared a bloodstain. Emperor. The other Emperor Wu was shocked and rushed forward. The storm thunder raised his hand to stop the crowd. His mouth outlined the evil smile and looked at Ji-Ruyu coldly. Ancient Emperor soldiers. I little interesting. It's a pity that in front of me, all the imperial soldiers have to be obedient. I don't want to fight. Do you think you are the only swordsman in the world? Quote. The wind and rain thunder wiped the bloodstain on his face, and his tongue licked the blood on his hand. The wind and rain thunder suddenly raised his hand and cried, sword. Between heaven and earth, there is an amazing power of thunder and lightning. At the same time, a terrible thunder and lightning condenses into a sword type. Boom! An ancient sword of simplicity and old appears in front of everyone. The ancient sword is simple, but it constantly emits the atmosphere of destructive thunder and lightning, just like the formation of blue and purple lightning. The ancient emperor's army, Tianwu sword. Ji-Ruyu sucks in the air conditioner. Tianwu sword, the ancient emperor's army, has a great reputation in the military region. It is said that it is one of the 7 emperor soldiers of Xuanyuan Empire. Unexpectedly, it will appear on the body of Fengele. Rain and thunder are so beloved. Such ancient imperial soldiers, even some of the powerful Emperor Wu of Xuanyuan Empire, may not be able to own them. We should be envious of them. Chop. The wind, rain and thunder urge the sky thunder sword. All of a sudden, heaven and earth turn into a sea of thunder, and completely suppress the breath of the seal of sword. Poof! Ji Ruyu vomited blood and flew upside down again. At the moment, she was more seriously injured and in a mess. On the other side, Chen Cixi was suppressed by another late emperor of Xuanyuan Empire, while the Phantom Elder was suppressed by the Skeleton Ghost Elder. It's not very good to obey the emperor. Why do you have to resist? Since you can't resist the emperor, why don't you enjoy yourself? Rain and Thunder smile, capture to Ji Ruyu. Is it over? Ji Ruyu's eyes reveal despair. It's ridiculous. She's just like a flower. She's going to be defiled by such animals. No. Even if she's afraid of death, she won't be like the other party. As soon as she bit her teeth, Ji Ruyu will commit suicide in despair. Well, do you want to commit suicide? Fengele Emperor sneered. Even if you really commit suicide, this emperor also want to taste your taste, presumably the same very taste. Ji Ruyu despair, this storm thunder, is simply a beast. She gritted her teeth and tried to blow herself up. Boom. A force of terror came and suppressed her breath. She could not even explode herself. It was the late Emperor Wu of Xuanyuan Empire. Ji Ruyu's heart is in despair. Zhenyuan in her body is completely imprisoned and can only be slaughtered by others. With a grim smile, the Emperor of Wind and Thunder directly paws forward. Seeing that Ji Ruyu is about to fall into crisis, she suddenly. Boom! In the distance, a terrible sword light suddenly swept, turned into a sky sword, and chopped to the top of the Wind and Rain Thunder head. Who is it? Bold. Who attacked the Thunder Emperor of Xuanyuan Empire? The crowd was furious, and a series of sounds of surprise and anger were heard. One of them wanted to do meritorious deeds and directly blocked the sword light. The huge hand of Zhenyuan looked like a curtain of heaven and wanted to wrap the sword light. Be careful. At the moment when the sword light collided with Zhenyuan's palm, the Emperor Wu's face suddenly changed greatly in the later period of Xuanyuan Empire, and suddenly gave out a shock. However, it was too late. With a thump, the sword light ran through the interceptor's hand directly, and then stabbed at the head of the interceptor. The Emperor Wu's face was startled and angry, so he quickly dodged back and watched the sword light penetrate his head and strangle his head into nothingness. Once the sword light turns, it attacks the Rain and Thunder again. Bold. Emperor Wu, the leader of the Xuanyuan Empire, was furious. With a clap of his hand and a bang, the sword light suddenly flew away. But what was shocking was that after a turning point, the sword light was killed again towards the Wind, Rain and Thunder. I'm crazy in front of the Emperor. The Wind, Rain and Thunder were in a rage. The thunder light on his body was blooming. In his eyes, it seemed that there was a lightning rune flashing in his eyes, which sent out the breath of ancient famine. One sword quickly split the sword light out. Puff, puff, puff. At this time, 5 sword lights suddenly burst out from under the ground. However, these 5 sword lights did not attack the Thunder Emperor. Instead, they wrapped Ji Ruyu and retreated in an instant. Trying to save people, Storm Lei immediately understood the other party's intention, and killed him was not the purpose was to save Ji Ruyu from his hand. He was very angry in his heart, and no one dared to play him like this. Somebody, take that man down for me. I'd like to see who dares to destroy his good deeds. In fact, the Emperor didn't need to talk about it. Many of the Emperor Wu of Xuanyuan Empire had already moved one after another. They turned into the light of the sword, and stormy thunder rushed to Ji Ruyu, obviously to take Ji Ruyu back. The 5 sword lights, which wrapped Ji Ruyu, immediately divided into 2 and came to kill the Emperor of Wind and Thunder. The 2 sword lights had a sharp breath, like 2 heavenly swords. The Wind Thunder Emperor snorted coldly and urged the Sky Thunder sword. His body sent out a terrible sword sense. The Sky Thunder sword suddenly split on the 2 sword lights. The 2 sword lights were shocked to show their original shape. They were actually 2 silver sword balls. Flying sword and sword pill. As soon as the Emperor's eyes sank and he was about to start again, he heard a cry of surprise coming from behind. However, the Emperor Wu of Xuanyuan Empire, who surrounded the past, was killed by the suddenly plundered figure of Xuanyuan Empire, and several others were left. They were all shocked, roaring and retreating one after another. Whoosh! A figure in a flash, into the ruins, straight to Ji Ruyu. It was a very young breath. Next to Fengele Emperor, the ferocious Emperor Wu, who had never taken the initiative to attack, snorted at the figure with a fist, which shocked the sky and the sky. The terrible fist power seemed to shake down the stars in the sky and stir up ripples in the void. Instantly permeated the figure. With a puff, the figure burst into pieces and no bones survived. Dead. In the distance, a group of Emperor Wu showed a look of astonishment. However, the grim Emperor Wu and the rain and thunder changed their faces slightly. Looking at the void not far away, another figure gathered there and suddenly penetrated the blockade of the crowd and landed beside Ji Ruyu. Previously, it was only a remnant of the other side that the ferocious emperor defeated. The man came to Ji Ruyu's side and immediately held Ji Ruyu. At the same time, he raised his hand, and 5 sword balls fell into his hands. Ji Ruyu was held by a man inexplicably, and smelled a man's breath. At first, there was a confusion in his mind. As soon as he wanted to struggle, he heard a low voice coming, "Don't move. Take this pill." That voice is low, and some immature, but it makes people feel at ease. What a familiar voice. Ji Ruyu raised her head and saw a familiar face. Under the light and shadow, Qin Chen's clear-cut face with water chestnut came into her eyes. The surprise and despair made her tears flow out. She was surprised and said, "Why are you in the here?" At the same time subconsciously swallow the pill. "Why can't I be here?" Qin Chen smiles and has a warm smile. Ji Ruyu just wants to say something. She feels a warm current coming out of her body. The warm current flows all over her body, and her injuries recover in a short time. "Is it you, boy?" In the face of the wind and rain, Rei's eyes are angry. This emperor thought who was destroying my good things. It was you, boy. Why aren't you in a good relationship with the Saint of Magic? When did you get involved with the Ji family? Rain Lei sneered and said, "It's really a heartless person who is not righteous. His own woman is trapped, but he has to save other women first. Since you have saved Ji Ruyu, the emperor should have a look at the other one." "How can you save the other one?" Rain and Thunder grinned grimly. Instead of fighting Qin Chen for the first time, he turned to Chen Sisi, who was oppressed by the town. Chen Sisi lies on the ground. First, he looks at the rain and thunder angrily, and then he looks at Qin Chen. There is helplessness and pitiful in his eyes. It seems that he can melt a piece of iron stone. Don't look at him. If you look at him, he can't save you. You might as well follow this emperor. Rain and Thunder said grimly to Chen Sisi. Qin Chen put Ji Ruyu aside. At the same time, he threw out the Dao 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 array flag and guarded her in the array flag. Then he sneered at the wind and rain thunder and said, "The disciple of Xuanyuan Empire is not just a coward who attacks women, is he? Didn't you want to kill me when you were outside the ancient Yu kingdom? Now that I stand here, do you dare to fight with me?" Qin dust cold look rain thunder, face with disdain and sneer. "Fight with you? Ha ha ha." Rain and Thunder laughed wildly, as if he had heard some very funny joke. His tears were going to flow down. He was laughing, but his eyes gradually became cold. He said in a cold voice, "What kind of thing are you? Also worthy of fighting with the emperor?" He looked at Qin Chen with disdain. His pride came from within and escaped from his bones. He is the emperor of Xuanyuan Empire. He is extremely arrogant. There are not many people who can make him look up to in the martial area. Now, it is ridiculous that a boy from the lower 4 regions wants to challenge him. Qin Chen still with a smile, "Light way, so say, you dare not." Ha ha ha. The wind and rain thunder laughed and then said in a cold voice, "It's useless for the emperor to use the method of arousal. If you want to kill you, you don't need to do it. As long as the emperor gives an order, you will die. But I don't want you to die at present. Aren't you coming to save people? Ben Titsi is right in front of you, playing with your woman. It should be a wonderful scene." Ha ha ha. Hey, hey, hey. All around them laughed, and their smiles were full of lust and excitement. Ji Ruyu and Chen Sisi are gloomy and gnashing their teeth. The storm and thunder are just animals. He went to Chen Sisi, ignoring Qin Chen's provocation. Chen Sisi looks forward to Qin Chen's longing for help, but Qin Chen is silent and motionless. The wind and rain Lei was surprised and frowned slightly. He thought Qin Chen could not bear to move, but he didn't expect to be moved. The reason why he didn't respond to the battle was that he had seen Qin Chen's strength and knew that this method was a little tricky. So he wanted to deliberately lead Qin Chen to attack. He only needed Qin Chen to do it, and the waiting Grim Mo Wu Emperor and others would fight at the same time to suppress Qin Chen. But who would have thought that Qin Chen did not care about the safety of the magic scent? I don't believe it. I can bear it. He continued to move forward, trying to force Qin Chen to start. At this time, with a bang, the ground beside Chen Cece suddenly burst apart, and a black fog swept out, wrapping her in an instant. At the same time, a black figure appeared beside Chen Cece, and shot out suddenly with a palm toward the storm thunder. Heaven and earth suddenly sounded the piercing sound of ghost crying and howling, and the wind of blood and rain suddenly shocked. Who is it? One side of the ferocious Mo Wu Emperor and others were shocked. Unexpectedly, someone sneaked into the Wind Thunder Emperor's side, but he didn't realize it. Under a cold sweat, he rushed out with a fist. When the two sides were in touch, the Emperor felt that the physical strength of the other side was incredible. A cold force suddenly poured into his body and froze his heart. He snorted coldly and urged genuine in his body in a hurry, which suppressed the power. Grab people from this emperor's hand and seek death. The wind, rain and thunder were so angry that the thunder sword was offered and a sword was cut off. Suddenly, the thunder shook. The light of the lightning sword split the black fog, but the man in black had already wrapped Chen Cece and swept him out. He has a strange body method, which is startled by the wind, rain and thunder. The other person's body method is very strange, which gives him a very uncomfortable feeling. Boy, I think you're more comfortable. I'll give you the baby. As soon as the hand of the man in black shakes, Chen Cece immediately throws his hand at Qin Chen. Seeing the wind and rain and thunder, he hands again. A sword light suddenly lights up in the void. Stay. Sword light like electricity, directly came to Qin Chen. However, Qin Chen was filled with an amazing boundary of sword territory. The sword light cut by the wind, rain and thunder quickly weakened. When it came to Qin Chen, it was very weak, and its power was only 12/10, which was smashed by Qin Chen's fist. What? The wind, rain and thunder were startled. Although his sword was shot at will, it was smashed by Qin Chen's fist. How did this son do it? He was shocked. What's more, Qin Chen's sword realm also shocked him. Unexpectedly, in addition to Ji Ruyu, the pariah of the next 4 regions also realized the moves of the sword realm, the extreme state of kendo. How could it be possible? Shocked, Feng Yulei still wants to do something, but Qin Chen has already held Chen Cece, and quickly retreats, buzzing and buzzing. In the process of his retreat, an array of flags are quickly thrown out, forming a simple array, wrapping several people in the side. But then, the wind, rain and thunder were chopped out again. The sword light fell on the big array, and the array suddenly shook, but it was not broken. And with Qin Chen constantly throwing out the array flag, the array became more and more stable. This time, not only is the wind and rain thunder shock, even one side of the grim Mo Wu Emperor and other people also see silly eyes. In an instant, an array was arranged. This son is still a master of array, and he is definitely the top array master. How could that be possible? Qin Chen's means completely exceeded their expectations. In the array, Qin Chen embraces Chen Cece and quickly retreats. At the moment, Chen Cece's whole body is weak, paralyzed in Qin Chen's arms, and her body is close to Qin Chen's. Her body is soft and fragrant, and she lies in Qin Chen's arms, weak and boneless, which makes people feel confused. In order to prevent Chen Cece from being shaken, Qin Chen hugs Chen Cece tightly in his arms and holds him in his left hand. His whole posture is extremely ambiguous. Chen Cece said, the whole person was very ashamed and indignant. When he was hugged by a person so close, his whole body was suddenly soft and his face was almost red. Don't move. Qin Chen frowns slightly. His perception sweeps Chen Cece's body at will. Her condition is even more serious than Ji Ruyu. In her body, because of the suppression of her previous strength, her body was in chaos and her meridians were distorted. What's more, what she practiced was the magic skill of the magic demon sect, which was much more serious than Ji Ruyu's simple meridian damage. No small heart. She would be possessed by demons. However, Qin Chen doesn't have much time to treat Chen Cece now. He can only ease her up. Genuine moves in her body. When she pinches her left hand, Dao Genuine immediately flows into Chen Cici's body from her left hand. Chen Cici was hugged by Qin Chen's big hand. However, Qin Chen was still in full view of the public. With such a hard pinch, Xia Fi's cheeks suddenly disappeared. However, the feeling of sticking to each other only through the gauze clothes made Chen Cici fascinated. Comfortable, it was too comfortable. Qin Chen's hand seemed to have magic power, which made her feel crispy and numb all over her body. However, Qin Chen had already taken back her hand. On the other side, after saving Chen Cici, the man in black directly kills the ghost elder. Qin Chen takes back his eyes and stares coldly at the rain and thunder. Now, Ji Ruyu and Chen Cici have been rescued. So, it's time to start. Rain Thunder sneers at Qin Chen in the array. Does this son think he can be safe by hiding in the array? To his surprise, Qin Chen came out of the array directly. Rain, Thunder and other people suddenly burst into surprise. Qin Chen dared to come out of the array. Obviously, he doesn't pay attention to them. Boy, you are so crazy that you dare to come here alone. Rain Thunder deep voice said, have to say, he also admire Qin Dust to come here alone. Hee, I'm here to kill you. Qin Chen sneered. The wind and Rain Thunder could not help killing him. This guy actually said that he came to kill him. He really wanted to die. He snorted and said, since you have to kill yourself, I will. Phew. Before he finished a word, he saw that Qin Chen had already killed him. He cut it out with a sword and cut it against his head. The wind, rain and thunder are so strong that you dare to take the initiative to me. Die. He urged the Sky Thunder sword and chopped it towards Qin Chen. On the body of the sword, there were all kinds of thunder light lingering around, emitting a surprising momentum. Bang! Two people fight a sword, both body shape is a flash, back a few steps. It's even. The face of Rain and Thunder suddenly becomes wonderful. He has indeed seen Qin Chen's sword technique and has some strength, but that's all. His Sky Thunder sword is an ancient emperor's soldier, and it contains the destructive power of thunder and lightning. Combined with the skills he has cultivated, it can definitely suppress everything. In order to suppress Qin Chen, he has exerted at least 80% of his strength in the previous attack. But Qin Chen can fight against himself. He couldn't believe it. What's more terrible is that when the opponent takes out his sword, he feels very frightened. Is it true that Qin Chen's swordsmanship is still above him? No, it can't be. The kendo he practiced was a kind of great power of Emperor Wu. He had seen too much about his sword skill. In Shuanyuan Empire, with his status, what kendo secret books could not be seen. You can even see some ancient swords. Ji Ruyu's swordsmanship attainments are so terrible that he thinks that Ji Ruyu has joined the law enforcement hall and is a direct disciple of the Ji family of the Hermit family. However, Qin Chen, a mole ant from the lower four regions, has such a good knowledge of swordsmanship. How do you practice your sword skills? The voice of Wind and Rain Thunder is a little trembling. I think Qin Chen absolutely has a big secret. A kid from the next four domains would not have such strength if he had not encountered an adventure. Hee, can you manage it? Qin Chen's smile, very disdainful. Do you think it's okay to say nothing? Rain Thunder coldly stares at Qin Chen. What he wants has never been obtained. He doesn't say now. If he catches him, he can't say it. Emperor, let me take him. The ferocious emperor murmured in a deep voice. No, this son. I have to kill it. The storm and thunder were angry, and Qin Chen's repeated provocations had made him lose his patience completely. You go to help the skeleton ghost Emperor Wu, and take down the man in black. The god is mysterious, and there must be secrets in this person. Quote, as for you, continue to break through and capture the two bitches for me. Wind and Rain Thunder to the rest of the Shuanyuan Empire Wu Wanghan voice. Several great emperors of martial arts immediately rushed to the array where Ji Ruyu and Chen Cici were located. Qin Chen's face sank as he saw it. Just as he wanted to do it, Rain and Thunder came cold and cold. Don't you want to kill me? I don't know what the heaven and earth are. I'll show you what Tianzhou is in the martial area. Quote. His body was proud, and thunder suddenly burst out on his body. All kinds of thunder and lightning lingered around him, forming a vast ocean of thunder and lightning. The power of thunder and lightning turned into runes one by one, and then stuck tightly on his whole body and Sky Thunder Sword. The air on the Sky Thunder Sword is full of breath, as if it has been activated, and blooms with blazing brilliance. Wind and rain thunder so arrogant stand, the whole person is sending out the domineering spirit who gives up oneself. He was born with thunder body. He was given the Sky Thunder Sword since he was a child. He has been integrated with the Sky Thunder Sword since he was a child. The combination of the natural thunder body and the Sky Thunder Sword can definitely enhance his power. This is the basis of his martial arts. Qin Chen looks at the Sky Thunder Sword in the hand of the wind and rain thunder, and his eyes flash slightly. This sword is extraordinary. As long as the wind and rain thunder is killed, it can become another magic weapon of his own. Maybe, combined with his own thunder blood, it will have different effects. Kill you, just a sword. Rain and Thunder said in a condescending tone. If you want to fight, you'll fight, and you'll chirp. Qin Chen took the lead, and the mysterious rusty sword bloomed with divine brilliance, and was not afraid of the breath of Thunder Sword. Although Tianwu sword is an ancient emperor's weapon, it is on the same level as Ji Ruyu's Fengjue sword. Originally, in the Demon Sword Tower, the Demon Sword was powerful, and Ji Ruyu's Fengjue sword was not as powerful as the Demon Sword. But his mysterious rusty sword could suppress the Demon Sword. How could he be afraid? This is just Sky Thunder Sword. He waved his sword and took the initiative to attack. Beyond my ability. The wind and rain, the wind and rain, the wind and rain, the thunder force, the thunder force. Bang! They retreated, and at the same time, they matched each other again. No. Qin Chen clearly still has the upper hand. He urges the mysterious rusty sword to be chopped again. The territory of the sword is diffuse, and the world suddenly trembles. The wind and rain thunder are more angry, and the Sky Thunder Sword is more intense. It also releases the boundary of the sword. Only the sound of the click can be heard. The boundary between the two swords collides wildly, and the void is torn by the sword chi. Click. Countless thunder light fell, accompanied by sword light, completely wrapped Qin dust in it. Poof. But at this time, a sword chi suddenly came out. It was Jidao's sword. The sword spirit full of killing intention didn't enter the body of wind and rain thunder, which made him snort and spew blood immediately. Ha ha. However, the wind, rain and thunder laugh. Although he was hurt by the sword, Qin Chen was also haunted by the power of thunder and lightning. Thunder and lightning is the destructive power, which is superior to other attacks. Anyone who is killed by his thunder and lightning will have a miserable ending. But the next moment, the expression on his face solidified. In the thunder and lightning, Qin Chen walked out slowly and was safe and sound. This time, the face of rain and thunder completely changed color, and even the scalp began to numb. Qin Chen was wrapped up by his own thunder and lightning power, but why did he remain intact? Hiss. Isn't this guy human? Even the late Emperor Wu may not be able to survive his thunder and lightning. Qin Chen patted his sleeve. Is this your attack? It's too weak to scratch. Quote. Qin Chen didn't speak big words. Although the thunder and lightning power of wind and rain was strong, it was nothing compared with the natural calamity that he had suffered before. What's more, Qin Chen has the blood of thunder. What he is most afraid of is lightning attack. His thunder blood can even absorb the natural calamity. How can this lightning power hurt him? Boy, don't be wild. Storm thunder rage, strong to kill, boom, his eyebrows have thunder surge, strong mess, was completely enraged. Boom. The two fought in an instant. In an instant, the whole ruins were filled with thunder and lightning. It has to be said that storm and thunder are absolutely the top Tianzhou that Qin Chen has ever seen. Although he is only the peak emperor of martial arts in the early stage, he is more terrible and powerful than the ancient eagle elder of the ancient religion in terms of strength. In particular, he has the body of thunder, combined with the ancient emperor's army Sky Thunder Sword. Every sword falls, it dissipates the power to destroy everything. This is the power of thunder. This kind of power is very special enough to hurt the Emperor Wu in the late 8th stage, which is also the basis of his arrogance. Even talent. In fact, he and Ji Ruyu such as Tianzhou little difference. However, the combination of his natural thunder body and the Sky Thunder Sword made him more powerful than the blood of Ji Ruyu Sky Sword and Fengjue Sword. Ji Ruyu, such as Tianzhao's strength, is more respect for the repair, and the strength of wind and rain thunder, but respect talent. Boom. During the two men's war, thunder broke out in each strike, and the sky and the earth changed color, and the sun and the moon lost their luster. A scene of the coming of the end of the day showed that they were attacking the array, and the other Emperor Wu of Xuanyuan Empire was constantly changing color. Was such a terrible attack really launched by the early Emperor Wu? Most of them are the mid-term peak Emperor Wu, and the weakest one is also the mid-term Emperor Wu. However, in front of the confrontation between Qin Chen and Fengele, they are afraid to approach. This son of a bitch, I haven't seen him for a year, but his strength has been improved so much. Ji Ruyu is also shocked, looking at Qin Chen, her eyes are shocked. It seems that Qianzu has a good eye. For the sake of his coming to save me this time, he will scold him less next time in front of Changxu. Ji Ruyu is worried about the safety of Qin Chen, but he hums. Chen Cece also clenched his fists. He was angry about Qin Chen's touching himself, but he was also worried. This kind of worry was not that he might encounter danger after Qin Chen was defeated, but a pure concern for Qin Chen. Even she didn't know why she felt this way, but she didn't think of Qin Chen's faint smile, which made Chen Cece's teeth itch with anger. In order to help the two people, they can help each other. Boom. On the other hand, the leader of the skeleton helmsman is not afraid of the double attacks from the elder of the skeleton ghost and the grim emperor of Mo Wu. G. 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 The stronger the elder of skeleton ghost and the emperor of ferocious Mo, the more accomplishments he will improve after swallowing them. Can you not be excited? Well, play tricks. The elder of the skeleton and ghost roared. What he practiced was the magic skill of the heavenly ghost sect. It can be said that the magic power was so powerful that the ghost spirit released by the skeleton scepter in his hand could devour the essence and blood of the warrior and bewitch people's spirits. The normal Emperor Wu was extremely afraid of him, but the man in black seemed to have practiced magic skills. He even felt a sense of terror from his body. Naturally, he was extremely upset. Die. With a wave of his right hand, the old master of skeleton and ghost suddenly swept out countless black demonic spirits. Among them, countless faces were twisted and screamed, and the sound of ghost crying and howling. These were the strong men who had been killed by him. His soul was sacrificed in his true treasure, and his eternal life would never be beyond life. The black fog enveloped the leader of the skeleton helmsman in an instant. The elder's heart was happy. Any emperor who was wrapped by his spirit would lose his mind and eventually become a ghost in his treasure. GGG, little doll, is this your way to kill? Not so much. Such a crude means of soul refining really makes us laugh off our big teeth. Quote. In the evil spirit, the leader of the skeleton helmsman laughed. He sucked it hard, whimpering. Countless black evil spirits, together with the countless resentful spirits, were swallowed up by him in an instant, and his face showed a look of enjoyment. The elder of the skeleton ghost has already looked silly. The man in black swallowed all the bitterness of his sacrifice and showed such a look of enjoyment. Who is this guy? No. Is he human? Poof. After losing the spirit of mourning and refining, the spirit of the elder was trembling, his mind was in sharp pain, and he spit out a mouthful of blood in an instant. The leader of the skeleton helmsman seized the opportunity and killed him strongly. If it was not for the emperor's timely action to stop the attack, I'm afraid that the skeleton ghost elder would have been seriously injured and died here. This son is strange. Skeleton ghost, don't be careless. Ferocious Mo Wu Huang was angry. He didn't worry about the emperor of wind and thunder at all. With the strength of the emperor, it's no problem to kill the ants in the next 4 regions. The only worry is the man in black. If the other party passes on the message that the Xuanyuan Empire is going to fight against the Ji family disciples of the Law Enforcement Hall, the Xuanyuan Empire will be in chaos. Therefore, the skeleton helmsman must die. But on the other side, it was not as smooth as the Emperor of Ferocious Ink imagined. Zizizi. Countless thunder light surging, wind and rain thunder and Qin Chen fought for hundreds of rounds, but they could not win him. This time, the wind and rain thunder really changed color on his face, and even his scalp began to numb. He used the ultimate means, but still could not suppress Qin Chen. Hiss. This boy has either been given a special adventure, or has been handed down to compete with him. In particular, the sharp sword in Qin Chen's hand is of unknown grade. It seems ordinary, but in fact it is extremely weird. Under his Sky Thunder sword, it is not inferior at all, but has a faint suppression effect on his Sky Thunder sword. He was shocked, but also surprised. If he can get the sword in Qin Chen's hands, his strength will surely be improved again. A thunder fu appeared in his hand and stuck it on his eyebrows. His breath suddenly swelled, and his pupils even turned purple and white. It was like thunder and lightning god. For a moment, he was more powerful. Did you do your best? Qin Chen smiled. It is almost time. He urged the Green Lotus demon fire, in the rain and thunder to kill the moment, put it out. Boom. Suddenly, a blue demon fire appeared between heaven and earth. The flame burned, turned into lotus, devouring everything. What? This is sky fire. The storm thunder was startled. The blue flame was not afraid of his thunder. In addition to the sky fire, what kind of flame could not change color under his thunder body? Hiss. He sucks in the air. What's the origin of this boy? Even the sky fire that countless alchemy masters in the martial arts dream of. Alchemist. Master a ray so talented, what's more, it's called Qin Chen. Quote. The wind and rain and thunder shook wildly, and he thought of a man inexplicably. Qin Chen, the emperor of breaking the dust. He said subconsciously. The words fall, I do not know why, his heart a thorough, as if touched some amazing secret general. Yes, it's the emperor of breaking the dust. Although the rumor has been dead for many years, it is still a well-known name on the mainland. Especially in the time when the fame of Shangguan Xie and his father Xuanyuan, the great emperor of the Misty Palace, kept rising, this name was also mentioned more. 300 years ago, when the Emperor Po Chen-wu was alive, Shangguan Xie and his father Feng Xiaoyu were unknown. Although one founded the Misty Palace and the other created the Xuanyuan Empire, they had always lived under the aura of the emperor. Now, 300 years later, the Misty Palace has become almost the top sect of the mainland, and Xuanyuan Empire has also become the first empire on the mainland, and the existence of a military giant. If the Emperor Po Chen-wu was still alive, it would be possible for the three forces to unite as honorary elders in the Dan Pavilion, Utensil Hall and Blood Holy Land to rule the whole continent. Fortunately, although people feel sorry for the fall of the Emperor, they are still lucky to think of it. Because the Emperor is backward, the Misty Palace and Xuanyuan Empire are against each other, and the two forces split in an instant. Only in this way can the major forces in today's mainland have room for survival. Otherwise, once the Xuanyuan Empire and the Misty Palace unite, other major forces will be more difficult to survive. Even in the area of martial arts, there is a saying that the fall of the Wu Emperor, who broke the dust, changed the course of the history of the mainland. As the son of Xuanyuan Emperor, Feng Yulei naturally knows a lot about the Emperor, but I don't know why. When it comes to the Emperor, although his father shows grief, he always feels that his father is not as sad as he is. It has always been a subconscious feeling in his heart, but it has never been said to the public. But now, a young man named Qin Chen, from the lower four regions, has both Dan and Array, and has the sky fire and such terrible strength, which makes the wind, rain and thunder inexplicably frightened, such as thunder and lightning flashed through his mind and suddenly opened up. You are break the dust. He was shocked, as if in shock. Qin Chen was surprised. He didn't expect that he would let the wind and rain thunder misunderstand himself by showing his Green Lotus demon fire. It seems that this name can only be used sparingly in the future. Even rain and thunder can guess these things out of thin air. If they are introduced into Shangguan Xie and Feng Xiaoyu's ears, the consequences will be unbearable to contemplate. The above officials Xie and Feng Xiaoyu's ferocity, even if they are not sure, will send someone to kill him or take him back. Out of the ancient Yu kingdom, it seems that I have changed my identity. Thinking quickly flickered, Qin Chen said with a smile, I didn't expect to be guessed by you. Yes. I'm the Emperor of Broken Dust. Rain and Thunder, what? Is Qin Chen the Emperor of Breaking the Dust? No. He was furious. You are the Wu Emperor of the Broken Dust, ridiculous. The Emperor of the Broken Dust was already dead 300 years ago. Who are you? Boom. His body was full of thunder. In an instant, his whole body became red and white, and the blazing thunder light was dormant in his body to resist the erosion of Green Lotus demon fire. I'm really the Emperor of Breaking the Dust, Qin Chen said with a smile. Why doesn't he believe it? Emperor Po Chen Wu is the eldest brother of the Emperor's father. When he sees him, he must be very fond of him. How can he embarrass him everywhere and say, what's the purpose of pretending to be the Emperor? Quote. Love you. Qin Chen almost vomited. He was too lazy to talk nonsense, and urged the Green Lotus demon fire to sweep. At the same time, the whole person suddenly fell into the field of wind, rain and thunder. A sword was cut out with lightning, and the sword was shining brightly. It was forced to his head and killed everywhere. If Qin Chen used the sky fire to consume him far away, he might still be a little afraid, but now Qin Chen dared to approach him, and his mouth suddenly showed a sneer. Thunderbolt. Crackling. The wind, rain and thunder turned into a sea of thunder and lightning. At the same time, the thunder light on the sky thunder sword in his hand flashed and turned into a lightning flash, which chopped at Qin Chen. At the moment when the sky thunder sword was about to cut Qin Chen laughed and suddenly urged the mysterious formula obtained from the demon sword tower. A mysterious force was diffused. When the wind and rain were thundering, he felt that the sky thunder sword in his hand was out of control. There was an impulse to break through the air, and the thunder light on the sword quickly disappeared. What? The wind, rain and thunder are startled. How can the sky thunder sword not be controlled by itself? He quickly wanted to control the sky thunder sword, but the thunder sword in his hand was shaking and could not stop at all. At this time, Qin Chen's attack had swept through. No. It's a way to turn thunder into thunder. The thunderstorm in the body surged, and the thunder light swept out all over the sky. The body suddenly became transparent, leaving only the thunder in human shape surging, as if into a virtual body. Puff. The mysterious rusty sword cuts in the wind and thunder, as if it stabbed into a flowing current. It is totally free from force and cannot cut into his body. Kill the word sword Jew. With the operation of the kill word sword formula, a terrible killing intention suddenly spreads out. The astonishing killing intention soars to the sky and rushes into the wind and rain thunder body. He screams, his body appears in the void, and the whole person regresses out, and there is blood blooming. Tens of meters away, the wind and rain thunder body appeared. A huge gap appeared on his body. Blood dyed his lapel red, looking at Qin Chen in surprise. Qin Chen sneers and kills again. The storm thunder urges the sky thunder sword and tries to defend it. However, the sky thunder sword in his hand doesn't listen to his command and can't organize an effective defense. Puff, puff, puff. Dao Dao's sword light passed on him, and immediately countless blood splashed out. The wind and rain thunder quickly added many wounds to his body. In addition, the Green Lotus demon fire melted, and the power of Dao Dao's flame penetrated into his body and suffered severe torture. The wind, rain and thunder screamed. It was too painful. It was just like torture. Countless murders and swords were rampant in his body. Moreover, the terrible fire poison diffused, and his body seemed to be burning. If he was not born with thunder body, only this one moment would make him disappear and his bones would be gone. Emperor. When the emperor saw the scene, he was so frightened that he was sweating and roaring. He was about to rush to the scene. GGG. Your opponent is me. The head of the skeleton helmsman grinned grimly, and the bloody halberd appeared. A large amount of bloody evil spirit appeared between heaven and earth, which wrapped him, the grim emperor of Mo and the elder of skeleton ghost. You think I can't kill you? Ferocious blood claws. Worried about the rain and thunder, the ferocious emperor of Mo could no longer press him. He urged his blood essence and burned genuine. A black painted claw like a dragon reached out of his claw and clung to the skeleton helmsman. The attack was so strong that the ferocious emperor even tried to break his blood and retreat. His bloody and ferocious claws pierced the skeleton helmsman's defense and penetrated into his body. Wangui Chaozong, the elder of skeleton and ghost, seized the opportunity to chop it with one stick. Countless fierce ghosts howled and cried. The black skeleton scepter hit the skull helmsman's chest with a thump, which broke his chest. It's done. The elder of skeleton ghost and the emperor of Grim Mo were overjoyed. The emperor could not continue to attack the leader of the helmsman. He turned to the bloody devil and wanted to rescue the thunder emperor. Bang! He bumped into the bloody evil Qi and was immediately shaken back, and the bloody evil Qi turned into countless tentacles and came towards him. He was shocked and impossible. In front of him, the man in black was caught by his ferocious blood claws, and his internal Qi and blood would burst. What's more, the opponent was hit by the skeleton ghost elder, and even his chest was blown open. How could he still hold up the defense of blood color and evil Qi? He was shocked and turned his head in a hurry. The elder was also stunned. Subconsciously, he would raise the skeleton scepter and smash it again. However, his skeleton scepter had just been lifted up for half a minute. The black palm of his hand had already grasped the head of the scepter. It seemed that the scepter was firmly imprisoned. No matter how hard he tried, he could not get it back. Gaga, you too. Don't you think it's so simple to take this seat down? It's so naive. Gee, hee hee. The leader of the skeleton helmsman laughed, and the bloody halberd was cut off, and the blood was blooming. The elder of the skeleton and ghost suddenly flew out. There was a huge gap in his chest, and black blood gushed out. Chuckle. All kinds of black evil Qi continuously penetrated into his body. The ghost elder screamed and twisted. He looked at the leader of the skeleton helmsman with disbelief in his eyes. At the moment, the leader of the skeleton helmsman was penetrated by ferocious blood claws, and a big hole was opened in his chest. Even the strong man of Emperor Wu was half paralyzed, but the man in black was like nobody. Is this still human? Are you human or not? The ghost elder made a sound of panic and his body trembled. GGG, what do you say? The skeleton helmsman grinned. His core is the mind and soul, as well as the skeleton body transformed by the demon lord's bones. The flesh and blood of his body is just condensed by the essence of the powerful man of the Emperor Wu. Don't say it's just a big hole in the chest, even if there's only a skeleton left, it's nothing. Tut tut. The too late Emperor Wu, once this seat is swallowed, what is the loss of flesh and blood? The green eyes of the leader of the skeleton helmsman stare at the elder of the skeleton ghost and the grim emperor of Mo Wu, showing a vicious smile. His tongue sticks out and licks his lips. The evil expression makes people shiver. Even later Emperor Wu, such as the elder of skeleton ghost and the emperor of ferocious Mo, took a breath of cold air, and the cool air went straight to the top of his head from the bottom of his feet. I don't care if you are a man or a ghost. Die for me. In the heart of the grim Mo emperor, he was anxious and frantic and roared. However, as long as he can attack, the skeleton helmsman is as fearless as nobody. In terms of combat effectiveness, the helmsman of skeleton and ghost may be deficient, but in terms of defense and difficulty, the helmsman is definitely the top class, not to mention the late 8th stage Emperor Wu. Even if he is the peak of the late Wu emperor, he can't easily get rid of him. And at this time, the wind and rain thunder has been covered with blood, the whole person is in a mess, miserable. Why are you still in a daze? Why don't you go and save the emperor? The emperor was angry at the Xuanyuan Empire which had attacked Ji Ruyu and Chen Sisi, but was still in a daze at the moment. These people wake up in an instant. Although they are frightened, they still bite their teeth and rush to Qin Chen. Boom! Numerous attacks followed, coming to Qin Chen's head. Qin Chen sneers at him. He doesn't care. He's buzzing 5 sword pills swept out in an instant, turned into 5 fish-like, and instantly penetrated the bodies of 3 of them. Puff, puff, puff. 3 clear bursts sounded. The 3 Xuanyuan Empire Emperor Wu did not even respond to what happened. They have burst to pieces. No bones exist. The rest of the 2 people were scared to retreat, full of panic. Qin Chen didn't chase after him. He just urged the mysterious rusty sword and the green lotus demon fire to attack the Wind Thunder Emperor continuously and to destroy the real Yuan in his body. What are you two doing? The Emperor is in danger, but these two people are afraid to go forward. Is this the Emperor of Xuan Yuan Empire? Lord Grimo, it's not that we don't go up, but we'll die for nothing when we go up. The two men said in horror. Who will do the death? What are you doing here, and you don't go out and look for help? The ferocious Mo Emperor was very angry. These guys are nothing. You'd better consider yourself. A cold voice sounded in the ears of the grim Emperor Wu. Puff. The leader of the skeleton helmsmen did not know when he had come to him. While he was distracted, a halberd fell on his shoulder. If he had not dodged in time, half of his body would have been split in two. Even so, the ferocious emperor was covered with blood. He screamed like a fierce ghost, but his heart was full of anger and fear. He did not dare to be distracted anymore and tried his best to deal with the skeleton helmsmen. Whoosh! Two of them were the two Emperor Wu of Xuan Yuan Empire. They wanted to rush out of here to find someone to rescue them. As they fled, they watched Qin Chen nervously for fear that Qin Chen would attack them hard. What makes them wonder is that Qin Chen doesn't care about their actions. This makes them very happy. They speed up their speed, and they are about to rush out of the ruins. Suddenly, two swords in front of them suddenly cut. Who is it? They were surprised to see a woman in white standing at the gate of the ruins. She was a young man. Looking for death. They were so angry that they raised their hands to smash the two sword lights and rushed out at the same time. But when their palms touched the sword light, their faces changed. Boom! In the sword light, it contains amazing power. It directly smashes the palms of the two people. At the same time, the sword light suddenly sweeps over the bodies of the two emperors of Wu. The fierce sword spirit sweeps over them. They stare at the angry eyes and vanish in a flash. 1,000 snow. Ji Ruyu in the array is suddenly overjoyed. The visitor is Yu Changxiu. In fact, she has been out of the ruins for a long time, but has been guarding the entrance of the ruins. It's over. The emperor felt panic for the first time, and the rain and thunder also saw this scene, and his heart suddenly sank. Do you want to die here? No. He is the emperor of Xuan Yuan Empire and the son of Feng Xiaoyu. How can he die here? You think you're going to win? You forced me. I want you to die, all of you. Quote. The wind, rain and thunder roared, and he could not hold on any longer. He made a difficult choice. Several crystals of space appeared in his hand. With a click, the crystal of space was smashed, and a large amount of force of space poured into his body in an instant. A palpable breath came out of his body. At this critical moment, rain and thunder began to break through. His cultivation had already reached the peak of the early stage of the 8th stage, and his body had gathered the power of 10 space principles. But now, at the critical moment of life and death, he has swallowed up several crystal of space in an instant, and wants to break through the middle stage of the 8th level from the peak of the early 8th stage. It has to be said that rain and thunder are too bold to do such crazy things at such a critical moment. However, this is indeed a method. With his talent and strength, as long as he breaks through the middle of the 8th level, his cultivation will be greatly improved, and it will be easy to turn defeat into victory. Do you think I'll give you a chance to break through? After Qin Chen gets the purpose of wind, rain and thunder, suddenly sneer, boom, he kills, crazy hand. Ha ha ha, if you want to kill me, let me show you that I'm born with terrible thunder body. Do you think I'm just breaking through? Rain thunder laugh, he looked up to the sky, the breath of his body recklessly released, straight into the sky. Boom. In the sky, I don't know when there is a black thunder cloud. The thunder is surging, and the depressing breath is frightening, just like the end of the world. Ha ha ha, come and have a taste of this emperor's calamity. The wind and rain thunder laughed and rushed to the Qin dust. The oppressive atmosphere in the sky was more and more strong. The sky was gloomy as night. Suddenly, a ray of thunder suddenly chopped down and directly split into the wind and rain thunder. At this moment, the whole ruins are like a sea of thunder. In the sky, all kinds of thunder fell down, like pillars of heaven, crazy and terrible. This is the disaster of storm and thunder. In fact, the breakthrough of normal martial arts will not lead to natural calamity. It is only when the Emperor Wu is strong or the person who is against the heaven can trigger it. The storm thunder itself is a natural body of thunder. Naturally, the attraction of the thunder is far beyond the ordinary Tianzhao. For him, the natural calamity is a way for him to improve his cultivation. However, for other martial artists, the natural calamity is no different from the end of the day. Ha 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 ha, the Thunder Emperor is the Wind Thunder Emperor. Kill the Emperor. In addition to the tyrant, who can resist the storm? As long as Qin Chen dies, the Emperor Fengele breaks through the midterm Emperor Wu, and all the people here will be killed by the Emperor. Qin Chen. Less dust. Ji Ruyu. Several people clenched their hands in horror. They did not expect that the storm and thunder could trigger the legendary Tianji. They believed in Qin Chen's strength, but Tianji was the nightmare of all martial artists. Could Qin Chen resist it? Boy. In my disaster, it's gone. Wind and rain thunder roared, a face proud, rushed to Qin Chen. Boom. The thunder roared, and the sky and earth were filled with endless thunder light. The thunder from all walks of life fell down, turning this area into a sea of thunder. Even if they were outside the thunder, they were all covered with cold hair, and their hearts were full of fear. Ha ha ha, ha ha. Rain and thunder laugh wildly. Even if Qin Chen's talent goes against the sky again, he will surely die under his thunder. With a funny smile, his face showed a suspicious color, because the blue flame lingering in the disaster did not extinguish with it, but became more and more strong. What the hell is going on here? Isn't this kid dead? No, it's impossible. Under the thunder, who can live except himself? Just then, a mocking laugh resounded. Is this the thunder that you turned over? But so it is. Quote. Thunder. A figure slowly out of the mouth with a sneer. It is Qin Chen. At the moment, he stood in the center of the sky thunder. Dao Dao Qian lay split on his body, but he didn't realize it. Is the power of thunder too weak? It's like tickling. Qin Chen scoffed and looked proud. Compared with his own thunder robbery, the thunder robbery when the wind and rain broke through was just like tickling, which could not do him any harm at all. Instead, the force of the heavenly calamity penetrated into his body, making him feel numb and comfortable. No way. How can it be? The smile on Fengele's face was frozen, and the whole was completely shocked. Not only was he, but also the elder of Skeleton Ghost and the grim emperor of Mo Wu were also frightened. How could this be so? Ji Ruyu. Several people but a sigh of relief. Zhao Chen Wei, this guy, play what handsome. You, how did you do it? Quote. Rain Thunder looked at Qin Chen in disbelief and felt the whole worldview collapsed. What's the difficulty? Do you think only you have the power of thunder and lightning? Quote. Qin Chen sneers, thunder and blood in the body completely released. Boom. At this moment, he became a god of thunder and lightning, which was even more terrifying than the wind, rain and thunder, and cut out with one sword. When the sword was cut out, the force of thunder between heaven and earth was aroused. It concentrated on the mysterious rusty sword, and the wind and thunder flew out with a puff. His whole body was burnt black, and his internal organs were burned and screamed. How could that happen? Storm Thunder was scared and wanted to escape, but how could Qin Chen let him escape? Under the constant attack, the Storm Thunder was seriously injured and the breath of life was rapidly weakened. He will die under Qin's dust sword. Suddenly, hum. A breath of terror was diffused from the body of wind, rain and thunder, which was the will of Emperor Wu. Who dares to attack my son Feng Xiaoyu? A vast, oppressive breath diffused out. In this breath, Yu Changxiu and others seemed to have been hit by a heavy hammer. Suddenly a muffled sound, mouth overflow blood. Click. There is also a crack in the array arranged by Qin Chen, which constantly vibrates and seems to be broken. As for the blood-black evil spirit arranged by the leader of the Skull Helmsman, it also suddenly vibrated and revealed cracks. Just a breath, as if the ancient emperor came out, all the world must submit to it. Little feather in the wind. Qin Chen raised his head and looked at the empty figure on his head. His face was not clear, but the breath was too familiar. Who could it be? Who are you? The towering figure gazed at Qin Chen, and his eyes were inexplicably solidified and booming. At the same time, the void of the land of strange demons was shaking, and the breath of the virtual shadow was actually solidifying. A terrible force, penetrating through time and space, had to force its way through the ancient world of Yu and the land of strange demons, and came here. Father, help! Wind and rain, thunder, ecstasy, roared up to the sky. The great emperor, the grim Mo emperor, knelt down respectfully. Well, weird place. It's interesting. Quote. Boom. A terrible force penetrates through time and space, shaking the void and breaking the heaven and earth. This wind is little feather, actually wants to force through the ancient Yu realm, causes own will to come here. This is the first time that Qin Chen saw that Emperor Wu's will could penetrate the ancient Yu kingdom and come to this strange land. After 300 years of vicissitudes, Feng Xiaoyu's strength has been so strong that it is at least the strength of Emperor Wu at the peak. As long as Feng Xiaoyu's will comes, even the weakest will is enough to kill all the people on the field. This is the peak of Woody. The power of will is incomparable. Everyone was shocked and the sky was wailing. At this moment, everyone was shocked, trembling in the breath of wind and little feather. Puff, puff, puff. Ji Ruyu, Chen Cixi, Yu Changxiu and others are coughing up blood, and the skeleton helmsman is also shivering. Many people have seen the will of Emperor Wu, but it is the first time that such an effect can be achieved. Just a breath makes the sky tremble and the void collapses and cannot bear it. Xuanyuan Emperor. The supreme power of Xuanyuan Empire, the most top power in the mainland, is amazing. In fact, it is powerful enough to easily wipe out the powerful Emperor Wu of other major forces. Never let the breath of wind and little feather come. Qin Chen sprang up, the thunder light in the sky bloomed on him, turned into the god of thunder, and cut out violently. His face was fierce, his eyes were more dignified than ever, and he was roaring. 300 years of hatred, a move to break out. Boom. Feng Xiaoyu probes into his hand, and his empty palm looks like a demon from the ancient darkness. With a single point, it stops Qin Chen's attack. The thunder light roars like a dragon, but it is firmly suppressed by the empty finger. It's just an empty finger. It's a very weak will of Emperor Wu, but it can suppress Qin Chen's all-out strike. It's terrible. Why is your breath familiar? Feng Xiaoyu murmured, and doubts appeared on his face. From the moment when his will came, he always felt that the young man's breath in front of him was very strange, which made him feel vaguely familiar, as if he had seen it somewhere. However, he didn't care. His will of terror spread continuously and wanted to break through the blockade of the ancient Yu kingdom. Want to break through the blockade of the ancient Yu kingdom. Qin Chen needed the formula with both hands. In an instant, countless streamers twined Xiangfeng Xiaoyu and suppressed him, trying to cut off the arrival of Feng Xiaoyu. The complicated circulation of runes forms a vast rune, which is suppressed. Poof! Rain and thunder all over the body tremble. In this force, the body split, blood horizontal splash. Ah! He screamed, and his eyes cracked. At the same time, he was frightened and angry. The father came, and his power was boundless. This guy could still make a move under the power of his father. It was terrible. I'm afraid that the ordinary powerful emperor of martial arts would have broken their souls long ago. Father, help me. Wind and rain, thunder, panic cry, the body in a split. Dare to fight in front of the emperor, die. Feng Xiaoyu was furious. His eyes shot at the god's horn. He pressed down his palm and hummed. The whole void was shaking. The sky was shaking. He saw that Qin dust was about to explode. A dark shadow suddenly appeared and stopped Qin Chen. It's the skeleton helmsman. Bang! The terror of the helmsman swept through, and the body of the leader of the skeleton helmsman was blown up. Blood was flying everywhere, and his body was devastated, as if he had been blown up. Ha ha ha! I dare to be wild in front of my father. That's to seek death. The emperor, kill them all. The emperor was also ecstatic and his scalp was numb. This is Xuanyuan Emperor. Even if it is a will that has not come completely, it can easily wipe out the late Emperor Wu, which is incomparable. What? But at the next moment, their eyes widened. After the man in black was smashed and exploded, he rose up again like nobody else. The bloody halberd swept out and split into the wind and little feather. Why? Feng Xiaoyu is surprised. He seems to have seen something incredible. He takes a picture again and roars. The leader of the skeleton helmsman is shaken off again. This time, it was more seriously injured, and even exposed the bones inside. The bones were golden, just like those made of gold, emitting bright light. Evil spirit. Wind little feather cold voice Wei, eyes instantly become sharp. Angry. You why kill my son? He was angry, and though his face was not clear, his anger could not be concealed, as if he had seen something incredible. It seems that the people of the demon clan should not attack the storm and thunder at all. How could he have said that? The speaker didn't mean it. The listener had a heart movement. Qin Chen even raised his voice to the outside of the valley and said, all the members of the Misty Palace, what are you waiting for? Don't kill the wind, rain and thunder. Please don't forget the order of the Lord of the Palace. The purpose of this trip must not be disclosed. All the people in Xuanyuan Empire are going to die. The people of the Misty Palace. No way. Wind Xiaoyu drank coldly and turned to look beyond the ruins. His eyes seemed to penetrate the endless void and burst out. Then his eyes suddenly fell on a rock wall outside the ruins. There. A shadow like a shadow. Is Qin Chen going to kill me? This is Emperor Xuanyuan. The man was shocked and frightened. He wanted to tear Qin Chen apart. It was not others. It was Zhou Jiwei who followed Qin Chen quietly all the way. At the moment, seeing Xuanyuan Emperor's eyes, Zhou Jiwei only felt that her mind was blank. She quickly applied her secret arts to cover others. She could never be seen by Xuanyuan Emperor. Otherwise, Xuanyuan Emperor would be angry. How could the Misty Palace be harmonious for herself? Xuanyuan Empire fights. At that time, they will surely sacrifice themselves. She uses the art of seizing the sky, and her figure becomes hazy. At the same time, she turns and runs. The art of seizing heaven from the Misty Palace. It's impossible. Quote. Xuanyuan Emperor was frightened and angry. Because of his anger, his body even trembled, the void burst and the heaven and earth shook. If you want to go, leave it to the Emperor. Jiwei burst out of his body, but it was hard to breathe. Seeing that she was killed by the meteor, a startling breath came out of Zhou Jiwei's body. She was the Emperor Wu of the Misty Palace. Who dares to attack my disciples of the Misty Palace? Obviously, the Emperor Wu was not as terrible as Feng Xiaoyu. What was activated was just the power of the will of Emperor Wu in Zhou Jiwei's body, rather than the arrival of the real will of Emperor Wu. His language was extremely dull. He said a word and shot him directly to kill Xiang Feng Xiaoyu. Sure enough, they are from the Misty Palace. Feng Xiaoyu seems to have suffered a huge blow, and the whole person becomes extremely angry. He raises his hand and blows it out directly. The will of Emperor Wu trembles violently, and in an instant, it splits into ashes. Just for a moment, the will of Emperor Wu of the ethereal palace collapsed completely, and he was not the enemy of one move at all. Feng Xiaoyu continues to raise his hand and grabs Zhou Jiwei. It is obvious that he wants to be captured and interrogated. No, it can't go on like this. Qin Chen's eyes were cold. He kept holding the formula, but he could not block the Wind Xiaoyu. The strength of Wind Xiaoyu was still increasing. If you let the wind come down, everyone will die. As soon as Qin Chen was fierce and puffed, he vomited his essence and blood on the mysterious rust sword. At the same time, he urged his internal strength and poured it into the mysterious rust sword. Whoa! The mysterious rusty sword suddenly lit up, and suddenly burst out a terrible black horn. A fierce momentum surged out of the sword, like a cloud flying into the sky, breaking out an unprecedented terror and pressure. The sky is shaking. At this moment, it seems that a demon from hell wakes up. The mysterious vacation can be filled with cold air and devour all things in the world. An amazing power of swallowing comes out of the mysterious rusty sword and cuts Xiangfeng Xiaoyu. What? Feng Xiaoyu hums coldly. She doesn't care to capture Zhou Jiwei. She turns and blows out with a fist. It sounds like the sky is falling apart. The whole ruins are shaking violently, as if two peerless masters are fighting. Boom, boom. I can see that the two forces collide as fast as the waves. With each blow, they all burst out the killing intention, which is enough to easily wipe out a peak emperor of martial arts. It's just a sword that can block the emperor's power. What kind of weapon is it? The wind little feather sinks away, showing the meaning of exasperation, more powerful. Phew. The mysterious rusty sword became more and more cold and turned into a black ocean. A cold breath spread out. Qin Chen and others felt dizzy. They saw the endless sea of corpses and blood in front of them, as if they had fallen into the nine hell. GGG. In the sea of corpses and blood, a dark figure screamed wildly, ferocious and evil. It danced its hands, and the mysterious rusty sword became more and more violent. Endless sword chi gushed from it, and a violent and angry atmosphere spread wildly. It is angry, as if angry that he was trapped in this space, in a frenzy, in the roar of 9 days. The mysterious rusty sword became more and more strange. The genuine in Qin Chen's body passed away madly, and there was no time to supplement the power of the mysterious rust sword. However, the power of the mysterious rust sword became more and more terrible. The sword was shining through the sky and gradually overcame the wind and little feather. Puff, puff, puff. The breath of Feng Xiaoyu's body is weakening, and being worn away by the mysterious rust sword. Wind Xiaoyu is angry. No matter how he hands, he cannot resist this force, and his breath is rapidly weakening. Go. He backhanded a volume. Emperor Wu will wrap up the wind and rain thunder, to take him away from here. The great emperor. The emperor of ferocious Mo yelled in horror. He was crawling on the ground with a look of panic. Once the emperor left here, what should he do? Heaven and earth make jade dishes. How could Qin Chen let Feng Xiaoyu leave? At this moment, in order to leave Feng Xiaoyu, he ignored everything and directly urged heaven and earth to create jade dishes. Suddenly, the infinite power of space filled out and blocked the whole world. In the dark, Qin Chen threw the heaven and earth to create a jade dish, as if to hear something in the depths of the strange devil land calling himself. What is this? He was suspicious in his heart, but he didn't have time to manage too much. He urged heaven and earth to create jade dishes. The world was immediately imprisoned. The mysterious rusty sword and heaven and earth made jade dishes imprisoned the will of Emperor Wu of Feng Xiaoyu. It's too much to stop the emperor. The wind Xiaoyu sneers and soars to the sky. Bang! He wants to tear open the blockade of the heaven and earth. The heaven and earth made jade dish trembled, and the force of space in Qin Chen's body was too weak to motivate its strength. Seeing that the heaven and earth's creation jade dish could not hold on, suddenly, the space fog over the space pool nearby seemed to be triggered by. In a moment, and rushed into the heaven and earth nature jade dish. The jade dish of heaven and earth is full of light and seems to be revived. The original shaking void is instantly stabilized and indestructible, even isolating the willpower of Wind Xiaoyu from penetrating the ancient Yu kingdom. Qin Chen was overjoyed. He didn't expect that Feng Xiaoyu's willpower, which could not even be blocked by the ancient Yu kingdom and the land of demons, was suddenly blocked by the heaven and earth made jade dish, and could not be penetrated at all. Die. Seizing the opportunity, Qin Chen hastily urged the green lotus demon fire, and the flames swept across the sky quickly, enveloping the rain and thunder. No. The wind and rain thunder screamed, and then the whole person banged, which was exploded by the burning, and then disappeared. Without the carrier of wind, rain and thunder, Emperor Wu's will of Feng Xiaoyu suddenly lost the root of his coming, and was gradually eroded by the mysterious rusty sword. Finally, with a puff, it was smashed. Boy! I will kill you. A roar. The next moment Wind Xiaoyu's will to completely collapse, into nothingness. The jade dish of heaven and earth calmed down immediately. Emperor Xuanyuan's will of Emperor Wu was destroyed. The crowd was horrified, and then they were overjoyed and wept with joy. Just waiting for their surprise to fall, they can see that Qin Chen's body is shaking violently, but the breath on the mysterious rusty sword becomes more and more strange. After losing the target, the black and cold breath turns to attack Qin Chen. GGG. Between heaven and earth, it seems that there is an evil force in the grin, reverberating. Less dust. Qin Chen, Yu Changxiu and Ji Ruyu, who had put down their heart, suddenly raised it again. They found that there was something wrong with Qin Chen's state. It's like a red man in his eyes. No. The master seems to be eroded by some force. The leader of the skeleton helmsman fell down and said in horror that the force was so cold that it was afraid to approach. What about that? Yu Changxiu and others are anxious and helpless. At the moment, Qin Chen's state is very bad. His hands holding the mysterious rusty sword are shaking. His body is in chaos. A cold force is raging in his mind. It seems that he wants to let go of his secondary heart and let himself enter. Don't worry, there are parasites in the master's mind. The head of the skull helmsman stopped suddenly and said, "Don't worry, the master will be okay. The parasitic seed is the birth of the chaos devil's nest. Even if the demon lord is born, he can't take away the person who owns the parasitic seed. Therefore, the leader of the skeleton helmsman doesn't worry that Qin Chen will be taken away. Its only concern is whether this force is so cold that it will do harm to its owner." Go. Not far away, the already despairing ghost elder and ferocious Emperor Wu saw this scene and seized the opportunity. They rushed to the sky and rushed directly to the entrance of the ruins, apparently to escape from here. Where to go? The skeleton helmsman's body shape flickered, quickly chased the past, and quickly approached. However, the two emperors seized the opportunity very skillfully and immediately came to the entrance of the ruins. Once the two people rushed out and scattered, it was not easy for the helmsman to stop them. Whoosh! At this time, a figure came flying from the ruins, and the chi and blood of the other side condensed. At least, he was a late emperor of martial arts. After seeing the scene, his face suddenly showed a color of surprise and said from a distance, "Ferocious Ink Emperor, what's the matter?" It was the emperor of Xuanyuan Empire. Emperor Kangwu, help! When he saw the man, he was overjoyed, like a drowning man who grabbed the last straw and quickly approached the past. Quick! Someone in the ruins has killed Fengele Emperor. Stop him for us! The fierce Mo Emperor roared. What? Someone killed the Thunder Emperor, who is it? The ancient Kangwu Emperor was angry. Yes. The emperor turned around and pointed to the skeleton helmsman. Just as he was about to open his mouth, a palm suddenly pierced his chest, which turned out to be the ancient Kangwu Emperor. Emperor Kangwu, you. Ferocious Mo Wu Huang looked at him in astonishment. His face was unbelievable. He didn't understand why the ancient Kangwu Emperor wanted to kill himself. With a cold smile, the ancient Kangwu Emperor said, "It is my master who killed the Emperor Fengele." Boom! At the next moment, he broke out of genuine and smashed it into pieces under the terrified and unbelievable eyes of the emperor. "If you don't want to be my servant, you will be my servant." On the other side, the skeleton ghost elder was stopped by the skull helmsman, and said in horror, "Become my servant. GGG, such as you are such rubbish, I still despise you." The leader of the skeleton helmsman grinned grimly and made a strong move. The old skeleton ghost was seriously injured and could not resist. He was instantly exploded in his anger and turned into blood essence. The head of the skeleton helmsman took a deep breath, and the blood essence of the two men, the elder of the skeleton ghost and the Emperor Karamo, instantly sucked into the body like a whale sucking the sea water. As like as two peas, the skull commander sped out, and the broken body was healed up with the naked eye. It soon recovered and was even more thick and restrained. Go. See the master. The leader of the skeleton helmsman and the ancient Kangwu Emperor collected all the spoils and quickly returned to the ruins. Qin's eyes were cold and red, and they were all covered with cold and red fog. Master. The leader of the skeleton helmsman was surprised. It was the first time that Qin Chen looked like this. He immediately cried nervously. At the moment, Qin Chen's state is very bad, as if he had been possessed by the devil and fell into the devil. Ji Ruyu and Yu Changxiu are also very nervous, but they don't know what to do. If they want to get close to Qin Chen, they dare to get close to him. The cold chill almost froze them. Their thinking will stop and their bodies can't move. Critical moment. The fire of the green lotus demon diffuses and envelops Qin dust in an instant. The burning fire swept over his body, and Qin Chen immediately woke up and began to work hard on the secret formula obtained from the demon sword tower. The extreme of the sword is against yin and yang, breaking the heaven. The way of the sword is not as good as it has been. If you hold it but you are sharp, you can't always protect it. If you retreat after your achievements, the way of the sword is also. At first, Qin Chen's silent recitation was intermittent at first. Later, it became more and more fluent. At last, his heart was like a red bell and a big loo. The breath on the mysterious rusty sword quickly dissipated. GGG, one day, I will come out, and I will come out again. Quote. A ferocious voice sounded in Qin Chen's mind, like a ghost crying and howling. Finally, it disappeared completely, and the mysterious rust sword also completely calmed down and returned to peace. Poof. Qin dust, a mouthful of blood spurted out, wilting on the ground, breath is very weak. Qin Chen. Yu Changxiu, Ji Ruyu and Chen Cece rush up at the first time and come to Qin Chen. Yu Changxiu grabs Qin Chen in a hurry. Ji Ruyu and Chen Cece look embarrassed and stand by quietly. I'm fine. Seeing everyone's nervous expression, Qin Chen smiles. Although she is in great pain, she is more relaxed than ever before. After killing the wind, rain and thunder and erasing the will of Emperor Wu, Qin Chen's resentment buried in his heart for more than 300 years seems to have released a trace of it, and suddenly becomes relaxed and transparent. But at the same time, he felt the pressure. He picked up the mysterious rusty sword and his eyes twinkled. At the last moment, it was the explosion of the mysterious rusty sword that killed the will of Emperor Wu of Feng Xiaoyu. He did not expect that the will of Emperor Wu of Feng Xiaoyu could be transmitted across the sky in the ancient Yu kingdom, and then came. 300 years later, Feng Xiaoyu's strength has been raised to such a level. Qin Chen felt the heavy pressure. But immediately, Qin Chen laughed again. Even if the wind is less and the feather is stronger, what can it do? Just like just now, despite the danger, he finally killed Feng Xiaoyu's will of Emperor Wu. Even though he used the power that he could not control in the mysterious rust sword, he finally killed Feng Xiaoyu. It's just the evil power in the mysterious rust sword. I don't know what it is. He was almost in danger just now. Qin Chen also knows that the mysterious rusty sword is very dangerous, but he has no other way to force the mysterious rust sword. If you don't get the secret formula in the Demon Sword Tower, I'm afraid it will not be so easy to suppress the mysterious rusty sword. Then things will become very serious. And now, finally killed the wind and rain thunder, and if Feng Xiaoyu knew that the person who killed the wind and rain thunder was a man in the Misty Palace, what expression would he have? He smiles and begins to heal. Yu Changxiu, they see Qin dust is okay, also all a sigh of relief, after closing the entrance of the ruins, began to heal. There was too much noise here just now. If other people were attracted, they would be in danger. At this moment, in the remote Triple Heaven. This is a magnificent and boundless city. It is the imperial city of Xuanyuan Empire, which is known as the First Empire of the mainland. The imperial city is vast, covers an area of majestic, immortal gas lingering, Emperor Qi towering. In a palace deep in the imperial city, this beautiful man was seated. His body was straight, his eyes were closed, and his breath was filled with breath. Countless heaven and earth's true Qi rose and fell, and the void trembled faintly. He just sat here, like the only core of the world, and all things lost their brilliance in front of him. At this moment, he suddenly opened his eyes. Boom! Two divine rainbow from his eyes. The sky was suddenly torn open, a gap. That eye pupil contains amazing efforts. Boom! In the sky above the imperial city of Xuanyuan Empire, there was a sudden explosion of thunder, and the sky and earth changed color, as if the end of the day was coming. When the emperor was angry, the sky broke. This is the founder of the Xuanyuan Empire, Xuanyuan Emperor, Feng Xiaoyu. His face was full of evil spirit, and the breath of astonishment escaped from him. The void around him was full of dark cracks, shocking. Who is it? Who killed my son Storm Thunder? Wind Xiaoyu's heart roars and roars. Fengfengele is just one of his many sons. To tell the truth, he doesn't care about his only son, but what he cares about is the madness of the other side. He dares to attack his Feng Xiaoyu's offspring, which is challenging his authority. Is it really Shangguan Xie? No way. How could Shangguan Xie attack my children? But one of them is clearly a member of a different demon family. Besides Shangguan Xie, who can it be? Wind Xiaoyu's anger, like a volcano in the accumulation, want to erupt. Somebody. He was furious. Suddenly, a servant came in, saluted respectfully, trembling. Emperor, what's your order? Call me Wushang Wudi. Wushang Wudi is a powerful emperor of Xuanyuan Empire and the right arm of Feng Xiaoyu. Not long ago, a middle-aged man in a black robe with a cold look and a vertical eye in his eyebrows came in. The blood gas accumulation in the human body is like a vast ocean, which makes people dare not look closely. The great emperor. He knelt on one knee, respectfully. As soon as he came in, he felt a restless breath flowing in the hall. His anger was like a volcano before the eruption, which made him tense and frightened. Having known the great emperor for so many years, it was the first time that he saw the emperor with such a look, and his anger was not suppressed. If you try it, can you contact the king of martial arts? Windless feather cold channel. Golden body Emperor Wu. Wushang Wudi was stunned. The Golden Emperor was one of his Wu emperors. He was very much loved. But didn't he lead the Xuanyuan Empire to the ancient Yu kingdom? Why did the emperor suddenly ask him? Although he had doubts in his heart, he did not dare to neglect him. He tried to contact the king of martial arts in Jinshi for the first time. Whoa! The invisible power swept out, trying to connect the will of Emperor Wu who remained in the body of Emperor Wu in the golden body. But in the dark, there was a force that blocked his will, which was the diaphragm of the ancient Yu kingdom. With his strength, he could not break through the barrier of the ancient Yu kingdom. The great emperor, his subordinates can't contact the golden body. Wushang Wudi rode, the voice fell, the atmosphere on the field suddenly some cold, scared him to bow his head in a hurry. Unexpectedly, you take people to the ancient Yu kingdom immediately. Feng Yulei died in the ancient Yu kingdom. He was a young man who killed him. Moreover, this person is related to the Misty Palace. You must investigate the cause of the Storm Thunder's death and find the murderer. Click. The star iron floor tile at the foot of Wind Xiaoyu cracked and turned into dust. Fengalei Emperor is dead. Wushang Wudi finally understood why Xuanyuan Emperor was so angry. The son of the great emperor was killed in the ancient Yu kingdom. This is it going to change? Who is so bold as to dare to attack the son of the great emperor? Is it the man in the Misty Palace as the emperor said? My subordinates take orders. Wushang Wudi took orders and quickly summoned people. Soon, a lot of people were called over, and the movement was amazing, causing a sidelong look. Emperor Wushang of Xuanyuan Empire is gathering hands and seems to have action. When the news came out, the whole Xuanyuan Empire was shocked. Even in a very short period of time, the Xuanyuan Empire was transmitted and expanded to the surrounding areas. Although Wushang Wudi's strength was not the top in Xuanyuan Empire, its position was extremely special and very important. It was rumored that it was the right arm of Xuanyuan Emperor and the indicator of Emperor's intention. Many important actions of Xuanyuan Empire were generally carried out by Wushang Wudi. Therefore, his every move will be concerned by the outside world, attracting a lot of speculation. Now, Wushang Wudi is gathering people, which immediately leads to speculation. All major forces are paying attention to it, and they don't understand what actions Xuanyuan Empire is going to take. Half a day later, Wushang Wudi's team finally set out. The goal seems to be ancient Yuji. What? Emperor Wushang of Xuanyuan Empire took many experts to the ancient Yu kingdom. Quote. What happened? What happened in the ancient Yu kingdom? I heard a piece of news that there seems to have been a great change in the ancient Yu kingdom. There are some exotic treasures that can determine the fate of the mainland. What nonsense! I really heard that there was a great turmoil in the ancient Yu kingdom, and there was a confluence of major forces, and a river of blood flowed. Isn't it? Why did I hear that the Wind and Rain Thunder Emperor of Xuanyuan Empire was killed in the ancient Yu kingdom, and Xuanyuan was angry and ready to wash the ancient Yu kingdom with blood? Quote. A stone stirs 1,000 waves. All kinds of news spread out, whether true or false, the outside world can't calm down at once, blowing up huge waves. In particular, someone traced Wushang Wudi's whereabouts all the way, and found that he was really going to the ancient Yu kingdom, and was angry and murderous. This time, the major forces could not calm down and called on the strong to discuss. Although I don't know what happened in the ancient Yu kingdom, Wushang Wudi is the core of Xuanyuan Empire. Every time I travel, there will be great events, which makes people have to be vigilant. So secretly, all the major forces sent high-level officials to go outside the boundary of Guyu. Among the ruins, Qin Chen naturally did not know all this, but continued to heal. It took half a month for Qin Chen to recover from his injuries. The main reason was that his soul was so badly injured that his physical injuries did not matter. Whoa! He exhaled and stood up. Weak. Or too weak. Qin Chen shook his head. Although he didn't feel much at first, but now he comes back to his mind, he has some lingering fear. Although he has stepped into the realm of Emperor Wu, he is still only the peak cultivation of Emperor Wu in his early days. Even though his strength is strong, there is still something in the sky, some deficiencies. It seems that there must be a breakthrough, otherwise, the next time I encounter this kind of thing, I will be in danger. After killing the wind and rain thunder, Qin Chen is very happy in his heart. His cultivation, which had already reached the peak of his early days, was also slightly relaxed. Less dust. Are you okay? You thousand snow. Several people see Qin dust stop to heal. Immediately a face happy walked over. I'm fine. How are you? Qin Chen asked. We're okay, too. You thousand snow smile way. Qin Chen, thank you for your earlier help. If it were not for your help, we would have been in danger. Ji Ruyu came up and said. Although the expression on her face was very calm, there was still some palpitation in her heart, especially when she thought that she had almost fallen into the hands of the storm and thunder. There was a faint fear in her heart. What kind of person's virtue? She can't understand, then her end will be very miserable. Don't mention it. I'll save you at will. Qin Chen said at will. It is true that his most important purpose is to kill Yu Yulei. As for the rescue of Ji Ruyu and Chen Cece, he did it at will. Of course, it can't be said that he did it with ease, because even if other martial artists were against them, Qin Chen, who knew that they were in danger, would save them. But compared to the killing of rain and thunder, saving two people is really easy. And 4. Ji Ruyu when angry teeth straight itch. And 4. What do you think of them? She was immediately upset. She thought that Qin Chen had come to save her, but she was even a little happy. Now she heard that Qin Chen was doing what she wanted. She immediately said, I owe you a life in the demon sword inheritance, and now I owe you another life. Don't worry, I will give you back these 2 lives. Now you still think about your next step, how to deal with the fury of Xuanyuan Empire. Quote. At this point, the atmosphere on the field immediately became heavy. Once the wind and rain and thunder died, Xuanyuan Empire would never give up. Once the news leaked out, they would be in danger. It was the wind and rain thunder that moved the hand first. Why did the Xuanyuan Empire attack us? Yu Changsu snorted coldly. Ji Ruyu shook her head. You don't understand the hegemonic power of Xuanyuan Empire. On the mainland, in addition to the Misty Palace, Xuanyuan Empire is the most domineering. It's okay that you and I are from the Law Enforcement Hall, but Qin Chen is only a disciple of Dan Pavilion, and he is also a disciple selected from the lower 4 regions to Dan Pavilion. Speaking of this, Ji Ruyu sighed a little. Bridge greater than once the disciple of Qin Dan's cabinet is in a big position, it is very likely that she will be in a lower position in the Shichen Pavilion. Thinking of this, Ji Ruyu looks at Qin Chen's face and softens a lot. Although this guy is hateful and doesn't speak well, no matter what, Qin Chen killed the emperor of Xuanyuan Empire in order to save her. The risk is too big. She put herself in her place. If people from other forces encountered such a thing, I'm afraid they would not dare to fight the people of Xuanyuan Empire. After all, not everyone has the courage to fight Feng Xiaoyu. Qin Chen, thank you. Chen Cece also said that her tone was low. After the storm and thunder died, she wanted to save the Phantom Elder, but the Phantom Elder still failed to hold on. Now, except for her, the rest of the Phantom sect have all fallen down, and the loss of her heart can be imagined. But she also knows that the biggest pressure is Qin Chen. As long as you don't tell the story, it will be okay. Who will know that I killed the Storm Thunder? Qin Chen didn't care. Qin Chen, don't be careless. Don't you see the Emperor Xuanyuan's will coming? When Emperor Xuanyuan's will sees you, he will surely get some information. At that time, it will not be difficult to find you in many talents by means of Emperor Xuanyuan. Ji Ruyu said solemnly. She is the one who knows the most about Xuanyuan Emperor's horror. She is a terrible giant mentioned by their Ji family's ancestors that they should be extremely afraid of. No one can ignore him. Well, I know it all. As long as you don't tell the story, you don't have to worry about the rest. Unwilling to continue to talk about this topic, Qin Chen turned to the space pool in the ruins. Ji Ruyu is so angry that her lungs are about to explode. Qin Chen regards her kindness as a donkey's liver and lung, which is too hateful. Whoosh! She came to Qin Chen, stopped him and said solemnly, Qin Chen, listen to me, I'm not kidding. Quote. You care about me so much, not because Ben Shao saved you just now. Are you in love with me? Qin Chen was surprised. Love you, big head. Ji Ruyu was so angry that she would like to clap Qin Chen in two. She stood beside her and did not speak. There is nothing to say with this man. Less dust, such as the moon, she is also for you. Yu Changsu walked up the road, looking worried and nervous. Xuanyu, an emperor, that is the existence that only mentions the name makes people palpitating. Now that things have been done, what can we do now? The only thing we can do is to improve our own strength. Only when we are strong is the most important thing. As for other things, we can only take a step by step. Qin Chen said with a smile. It's not that he doesn't know the seriousness of the matter, but that he knows that the matter has come to this point, and that he can't recover what he thinks. What's more, he has to kill Fengele. Instead of thinking too much now, he'd better improve his own strength as soon as possible. Qin Chen was very interested in something that seemed to be calling from the depths of the land of strange demons when he urged heaven and earth to create jade dishes. Qin Chen, don't worry. It's because of me. I won't let you undertake it alone. Chen Cece came up and said that her flattery had disappeared, but her voice was tender and soft. Of course. Do you want the dust to be borne by one person? Dust less, but in order to save you, just killed the wind and rain thunder, want me to say, even if you agree with each other, there is no way to repay dust less. Yu Changsu snorted. It has to be said that Chen Cece's figure is very moving. Her figure is close to perfect, but she is totally different from Ji Ruyu and Yu Changsu. Yu Thousand Snow cold, aloof, like white lotus, mud and not die, high, such as empty valley orchid, like snow mountain white lotus, very pure. And Ji Ruyu, then noble, even if it is a figure of the back will make people admire, would like to kneel on the ground to lick her toes. However, she is very different from Chen Sirao. Chen Cece's face suddenly turned red. Although she was naturally beautiful, it was just her constitution, but she was not coquettish. Although she looked a little swanky on the surface, it was only because she had practiced the magic sect skill. In fact, she was not coquettish, very conservative. However, her conservative and obsequious attitude, a combination, but people have a stronger desire for possession. This is also why Yu Changsu, Ji Ruyu, Murongbingyun and others are all very beautiful and amazing, but only Chen Cece is the only one who makes rain and thunder never forget. She's a beauty enough to catch the eye of any man. Why? Don't you? Do you know how much trouble Chen Shao caused for you? If it hadn't been for less dust, would you still be here? I'm afraid I've been ravaged to death by the storm and thunder for a long time. What's more, is it unfair to you to be a person with less dust? Quote. Yu Changsu is aggressive to humanity. She has already made up her mind to take Chen Cece for Qin Chen. If you can, you will soak up. If you can't, you will be forced to plunder. How can you let this natural charming body fall into the hands of others? As for Chen Cece's willingness or not, and how he thinks, Yu Changsu doesn't care at all. Poof. One side Ji Ruyu almost vomited blood. Isn't the woman of Qin Chen? Why did you pick up girls for Qin Chen? It's too tough. At the same time, she felt a little uncomfortable in her heart. To talk about the relationship, it seems that she and Yu Changsu are better. But Yu Changsu actually takes Qin Chen Cece instead of her. Can this good sister continue to do it? Changsu, you're joking. Qin Chen, that's your man. How dare you rob me? Chen Cece smiles and thinks Yu Changsu is joking. He is afraid that he will seduce Qin Chen, so he deliberately emphasizes. Call me sister. Yu Thousand Snow displeased way, who else is joking with you? Chen Cece couldn't help but feel embarrassed and said, Sister Changsu, don't worry. I have no intention of robbing Qin Chen with you. She looked at Qin Chen. If the former Qin Chen just made her curious, then the present Qin Chen made her awe. This is a man who saved her. If it was not for Qin Chen's hand at the critical moment, she couldn't imagine what would happen to her. Such a man she respected and admired. Didn't you hear me call sister? Yu Thousand Snow said displeased. Sister. Quote. Yu Changsu's aura is too strong, let Chen Cece involuntarily cry, but a sister called out. She quickly shut up. Her own this is what? Yu Changsu nodded and said, since you called my sister, you will be the Qin family. If I see you seduce other men, Don't blame me for practicing family law. Hello. Hello. Are you talking too much to yourself? Chen Cece quickly waved his hand and said, Snow girl. Call me sister. The deep snow corrects the way. Chen Cece couldn't help being speechless, but she immediately became suspicious. After observing for a long time, she found that Yu Changsu didn't seem to be joking. This is one's own life. How can it be settled so easily? What's more, let master know that she will break her leg. Seeing Chen Cece's restless appearance, Yu Qianxuiden snorted coldly and said, Do you want to marry Chen Cece with less dust? Although you are the holy daughter of the magic sect, there is little dust. If you are willing to accept you, it will be a blessing that you have cultivated for several years. Quote. Chen Cece was stunned. This is really, in terms of talent, Wind and Rain Thunder can be regarded as the top in the martial arts field. He is the emperor of Xuanyuan Empire, the top imperial son in mainland China. His status and talent are incomparable. Previously, Chen Cece also had a fight with Fengalei and knew that the other side was terrible. But just now, he was defeated by Qin Chen. Even Emperor Xuanyuan's will of Emperor Xuanyuan was also destroyed by Qin Chen. How terrible is this talent? She can't help but think of what happened in the inheritance of the demon sword. At that time, many seed disciples of the demon sword sect and she were involved in the inheritance of the demon sword, but Qin Chen surprisingly activated the supreme sword and became the most dazzling figure at that time. It was at that time that Chen Cece began to pay attention to Qin Chen. However, when she was brought into the Wu region by the magic sect, she gradually forgot about the northern heaven region. After seeing the vastness of the Wu region, she realized that the Tianzhou in the northern heaven region was not even the lowest level in the Wu region. But Qin Chen, however, broke her traditional concept. Make her beautiful eyes shine. The so-called beauty love heroes, in the martial arts, everyone worships the strong, no exception. Chen Cece, of course, worshipped the strong. To tell you the truth, if you want to win her heart, you must at least defeat her in the battle of the same rank. At the same time, you should not only appreciate her beauty, but also appreciate her. But it is too hard and difficult to do this. She is a character of Tianzhou. She is also a natural beauty. She is strongly cultivated by the magic sect. She is Ling Yi and some powerful Tianzhou figures. She only has the power to bow to her. In addition, the magic master always can solve things with words without fist, so she seldom has the chance to make a move. Qin Chen had a battle at the same level, but it was definitely better than her, and it was not even a little bit, which naturally made her heart ripple. What's more, Qin Chen is the only one among all the men she meets who is not attracted by her beauty. In addition, Qin Chen saved her earlier, which naturally made Chen Cece feel dark. If she used to appreciate Qin Chen, now she brings a trace of love. She looks at Qin Chen, her eyes twinkle, with expectation, as if waiting for Qin Chen's recognition. Qin Chen ha 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 smile, Wei, you continue to chat, I want to see the space pool. After saying that, he ran away in dismay. Oh. My god, Yu Changsu is so brave. I found a woman for her directly. This hard to accept. But he didn't know what to say, so he just laughed and quickly changed the topic. Chen Cece's eyes flashed a trace of loss. She doesn't know why she has this feeling. Shouldn't she be happy? Just Qin Chen ignored, but let her heart empty, especially uncomfortable. Less dust, you show a state, think she is naturally beautiful body, can't cheap other people. Yu Changsu said in a hurry, and she did not cover it up, but said it very loud enough to let Chen Cece and Ji Ruyu hear clearly. Chen Cece almost stumbled and fell to the ground, her pretty face twitched slightly, and she didn't know what to say. Ji Ruyu is also stupid. Qianzu pushed the fairy daughter of the magic sect to Qin Chen just now. Is that the reason? She felt wonderful, as if she knew Yu Changsu for the first time. Even can't help but say, Qianzu, I'm also Ji family's legitimate daughter. If I marry me, I can get the support of the whole Ji family. It seems that she is not inferior to her natural beauty body. Words just fell, Ji Ruyu's face turned red. How could he say such a thing? This or yourself? But she inexplicably some expectations, secretly raised her head, seems to want to see Qin Dust and Yu Changsu's reaction. Ruyu, You are my good friend. It's not impossible if Chen Xiao likes you. You Thousand Snow pondered for a moment, actually serious reply Wei. Qin Chen was dizzy and his forehead was sweating. The answer was too much for him. Come on, Snow, stop talking nonsense. Qin Chen yelled, then chuckled at Ji Ruyu and Chen Sisi, and took Hu Changsu away. It is said that there are 3 women in a play, which that's true. He regretted that he had transferred the ancient Sangwu Emperor and the Skull Helmsman, leaving only 3 women and 1 man. Ji Ruyu's eyes are full of evil spirits. She is angry and stamping her feet. What does that mean? Can't you look at yourself? Hooligan. Chen Sisi couldn't help but spat. It's none of my business. Qin Chen only felt wronged. He had no idea. How could it be that he became a hooligan? He did not defend himself, but came to the space pool. On the space pool, there is a layer of light space mist, but this layer of space mist, in addition to a little hazy feeling, has no harm to people, so Qin dust has not been removed. Under the mist is the milky white space pool water, slightly rippling, exudes the amazing spatial power. As soon as Qin Chen was approaching, the power of the space principle in his body was faintly excited, as if he had seen something of great tonic effect. Yes, it's a pool of space. Qin Chen was surprised and jumped in without any hesitation. The warm water gushed in. Qin Chen felt comfortable all over and almost called out.